Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. It's Tuesday, February 28th, 2017. I'm your host, Owen Schroyer. Here's what's on the news tonight.
Tonight, InfoWars goes live as President Donald Trump delivers his first speech to Congress. Meanwhile, in typical liberal fashion, the House Democrats plan to troll the big event by inviting so-called dreamers, illegal immigrants, and Muslim refugees as their guests. Then, La Raza declares war on the United States and demands a reconquista of the American Southwest. And they have a well-documented history of promoting anti-white racism and a hatred for President Donald Trump and his supporters. So what are they prepared to do to stop Trump from building that wall? All that plus Alex Jones live in studio with the InfoWars crew. Up next, the InfoWars Nightly News. In case you haven't heard, InfoWars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists. InfoWars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of the Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the InfoWars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to InfoWars.com/app and download today. InfoWars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the InfoWars store that are only available for InfoWars Prime subscribers. That's InfoWars Prime at InfoWars.com/app. And if you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.
And Trump has said he doesn't want to.
Wars Nightly News. Owen Schroyer, Leanne McAdoo with you. We are going to have President Trump's address to Congress live in under an hour now. He is expected to speak to Congress. It is going to be the first time he addressed Congress, and everybody has different expectations. Of course, we are expecting some Democrat trolls, maybe even some people protesting, maybe some heckling going on, so we'll be sure to have all that action for you with live commentary. We are expecting Alex to be with Millie Weaver covering that. And then after the Nightly News, Leanne, that's when we'll pitch to Alex and Millie, and then we'll come back to do some post-address coverage as well. But there's plenty of news to get to before that. Let's start with some illegal immigration. All kinds of news on this tonight. Now, this is interesting. Illegal immigration drops 27% in January. And, of course, I think that you can definitely give this notch to Donald Trump. Illegal immigration across the southwest border plummeted in January compared to December. Now, this is pretty shocking. Total apprehensions of migrants trying to sneak across the border fell 27% from a month-to-month basis. Look at this number, to 31,575, folks. That is a lot of people. The number of inadmitted migrants who showed up at the southwest ports of entry fell 28% to 899 people. We're talking hundreds of thousands of people, and these are only the ones that they have on record. Folks, this is a serious problem. So thank God President Trump came along and started doing something about this. And we'll have more on that in a second about how important Donald Trump was to this movement. But now the passport centers are overwhelmed. This is from CBS Sacramento. As immigration enforcement ramps up, some passport centers in the region are overwhelmed with the number of applicants. They say long lines have wrapped around Passport Center in Modesto on Paradise Road for the last few weeks. So now, well, of course, it's popular to come to America. You know, we have all these self-loathing Americans that hate our way of life, but for some reason, everybody wants to come here. So it's so popular to come here, in fact, and now that you have to follow the law, you can see just how popular it is, and the lines are out the door. Agents detail daily border fence battle, seek post-Obama restart. And I've always said this, you know, I've never been the big wall guy. I've never chanted, let's build a wall at a Trump rally, because I think that in the 21st century, we should have modern technology to secure the border. But just following the law would be a nice thing. And this post-Obama restart is nothing but following the law. In the tiny Arizona city of Douglas, a Border Patrol surveillance camera is trained on a 10-foot-high fence with Mexico. Footage shows a figure appearing out of nowhere, and the fence suddenly opens to allow a pickup truck through. Oh, I wonder what's in that pickup truck. A car follows, and they speed off into adjoining neighborhoods while the makeshift gate slams shut. Now, this has been going on for decades. These are the people that aren't in the 10,000s of people on the record that we have. And how can people still sit here and say that this isn't an issue? And this is what I'm talking about with how important Donald Trump was. Remember, before Donald Trump hit the main scene, he's now basically the most popular human being probably in the history of the world. Before he announced his run for presidency, this issue of illegal immigration was virtually uncovered, folks. I know that that's amazing to comprehend now with it being such a big issue, such a polarizing issue on all fronts. But this was an issue that was virtually untalked about and uncovered by the mainstream news or the television news. Of course, Breitbart was covering it. You could see local CBS outlets reporting on it. InfoWars was all over it. But this is really an amazing development over the last 2 years, how the shift of just talking points has even existed with this now. It used to not exist. Now everyone's talking about it, and it's in all the news headlines. And now in Canada, it's a big issue. But this is scary. Door knocks in the dark, the Canadian town on the front line of the Trump migrant crackdown. Now, basically, this story talks about this woman. She's in her house, and all of a sudden, there's a loud knock on the door. They keep banging on the door, and there's a bunch of asylum seekers outside who are coming in the dead of night because they know that they can't live in America anymore. They're afraid with the Trump crackdown coming that this is a threat to their safety. Maybe they're going to get deported, so they go to Canada. Everybody apparently is apologizing for everything in Canada. They think they can just knock on the door and walk into somebody's house, and the people in this neighborhood that is right on our northern border are having an issue with it. So now Trudeau is having to tread lightly on his liberal policies when most of the Canadian people are now really concerned with this issue. Now, Leanne, you filed a special report. We're about to go to this, but, you know, La Raza is kind of a raising issue. They're present on the border. They're trying to fight back about Trump. I mean, do you think that they're going to fight back even harder now that Trump is cracking down?
Absolutely. Well, they're saying that his policies are basically a declaration of war against the entire Hispanic community. So it's just massively ramping up the race war, La Raza's race war that they want. And so they have a voice now. They're giving a lot of they're right on the main stage there with the Washington Post and other outlets, giving them this voice to speak about the fact that the president has basically declared war against the entire Hispanic community by saying that we want to deport violent, illegal immigrants and criminals. Tarnish the nation.
Let's go to Leanne's special report.
The National Council of La Raza has declared war on Trump's border wall. That's right. This is the organization with a documented history of promoting racism, now saying it's racist to build this border wall. This is according to the president of the National Council of La Raza. They claim that President Trump's plan to build the wall on the southern border and deport violent illegal immigrants will tarnish our nation's character. No, I think it's the violent illegal immigrants who are tarnishing the nation's character, and allowing this to continue is also tarnishing the character. So this is the president goes on to cite some of the dark chapters in U.S. history, including the slave trade, the Trail of Tears, Operation Wetback, and the internment of Japanese citizens and non-citizens during World War II. This was in the Washington Post that she's, riling up, stoking this racial division, but citing these dark chapters as something that in their time they were considered legal and justified. But now looking back, we can see them as assaults on the values that define our nation, and saying that Trump's executive order amounts to a declaration of war against the Hispanic community. She says for Latinos, including those who are citizens, stepping outside without papers could be cause for arrest. This makes no sense, this rationale. If you're not here illegally, you don't have anything to worry about. And Trump has repeatedly said the priority there is going to be deporting people here illegally who are violent criminals or with multiple charges against them. These are the people that are going to be the top priority. Now, she went on to suggest that the rationale behind Trump's order is based on falsehoods about the threat and costs of undocumented immigrants. This is despite the fact that the Federation for Immigration Reform just released a report claiming that illegal immigration costs American taxpayers $113 billion. And another report from the Center for Immigration Studies suggests the construction of this border wall will actually save taxpayers approximately $64 billion over the next 10 years. We'll actually have this all paid off and tied up here in just a couple of years with this border wall. And this is also in addition to Mecha calling for the return of Azatlan and dominating the southwest United States of America, following the brutal gringo invasion of their territories. So as we can see, the Washington Post is giving this racist rhetoric some front page headlines here, as well as the Democrats are really going to be able to get behind this. La Raza is, of course, closely tied with the Democrats, Hillary Clinton as well. Tonight, we're going to be seeing a lot of these illegal immigrants, people who are against Trump's border plan, at the first presidential address to joint session of Congress. And so it'll be very interesting to see if they're going to be able to convince all of us to give up our land and give it back to Azatlan.
That's strong rhetoric, to say that Trump is declaring war. I mean, and that's
right.
Obviously a false narrative, but this is something that people probably don't even realize is going on.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to talk about it on the mainstream news. La Raza has a little bit of, a pull. I mean, I believe that there's La Raza associated with ownership of some news publication. I can't recall it off the top of my head here.
Well, this is in addition to the fact that we just also had a Mexican representative saying that he was going to send his people, the Mexican citizens that are here in this country, send them to all the U.S., the Mexican consulates here in the U.S., and that they would be the safe haven, basically declaring war on the U.S. I mean, absolute madness here. Just the amount of people that are going to fight against what Donald Trump's trying to do.
Yeah, and La Raza's been trying to fight Trump for a while, and at first when he was fighting back, he was a racist. See, it's amazing. They build this narrative that Trump is a racist, and then they have so many different angles that they can take it off of, Oh, he's fighting La Raza. He's racist against Latinos. Well, wait a second. La Raza is basically openly declaring war on the United States now.
Right. Exactly.
And as you said, if you're here legally, you shouldn't be concerned. See, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like there's all this flack, all this pushback. It's like, oh, I'm so upset. Trump is enforcing the law. It's like, if you knew you were here breaking the law, are you really living comfortably?
Where was La Raza when President Obama was deporting like 350%, 350 times more than what Donald Trump did this first month? So there's obviously a political agenda here. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It's just the fact that the Democrats have zero representation, so they know that all the progressive agendas they were able to slam through the last 8 years are in jeopardy.
And now it's coming to Canada's doorstep, and Trudeau is having to tread very lightly on this issue.
Yes, this was after in order to just show that he's the anti-Trump, he says, we're not going to have a travel ban. Everyone is welcome. Come in, anyone seeking asylum. And now they're actually knocking on people's doors at night, like you pointed out. And that's the thing. It's those of us who are going to have to live with the refugees and people here illegally, not the people behind the gates.
Well, hey, you know, they're saying that these people are the only ones that'll work these jobs, apparently. But we got another solution for that. Minimum wage massacre. Wendy's unleashes 1,000 robots to counter higher labor costs.
Didn't see that one coming.
Hey, if that illegal immigrant or a no American wants to do that job, then we'll just build a robot to do it. And then your nice little minimum wage laws will be kaput and be worthless. How do you like that without a job? With that, here's the minimum wage, $1,000 an hour. Oh, I don't have a job. Sad how that works. All right, you know what? Let's go to this story, actually, guys. We're going to go right to this story because this is really what I wanted to have Leanne on about because I was fully triggered by this girl, okay? And here's the deal. Look, I don't even care. I don't even care. People can do whatever they want with their body. It's none of my business, honestly. But Leanne, I just have an issue, and because my issue here is I don't think that this girl is actually like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't care, I'm proud to be fat or whatever it is. I really think that there's this weird culture of laziness, and it's like an excuse or like it's cool. Like, oh, like, look at me. I don't want to work hard to be in shape. I'd rather be a slob and not care about my health. And look at how cool I am just accepting it. It's like, oh, it's just cool to be lazy. And then the other thing I'm pointing out here is as well, she goes beyond just being lazy. I mean, look at this. She goes, okay, hey, look, I'm a girl. I'm wearing my workout clothes here to just taking a selfie in her panties and bra.
Putting it out there for all the likes. So there's this weird culture on Instagram and social media where people are, oh, you're so brave. Oh my gosh, you inspire me so much. And I mean, so on the one end, they're getting it for the likes like most people do, but it's just sort of reinforcing this unhealthy behavior. Now, I'm a woman. I'm the first one to say, you know, that's great. Be proud of your body. We're all made differently, all different shapes and sizes. But I mean, you fat shamed me back into the gym.
It is not an accurate phrase.
Fat shamed me right back into the gym.
Whatever.
And I'm thankful. I thank you for that. I didn't need your Instagram likes to, you know.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying, though. This girl, and, you know, I don't even care. Again, go on Instagram. Fine. Go on Instagram and promote your laziness, okay? Go on Instagram and get a bunch of other lazy people to like your photos because they're lazy, too. And then dye your hair purple and pink while you're at it as well because everybody digs that.
Well, she's original, and there's no one like her.
She's the first one to dye her hair.
Very first, yeah.
Well, we have Rainbow Snatch, actually, that works here. It's just then they have to push this in the mainstream media. Why is Yahoo? See, what is Yahoo's deal? Who is running this? I need to look at this. They're hating. Donald Trump gets bashed on Yahoo regularly. They praise Larry Summers today on the front page all day long because he bashes Trump. And then they run this on the front page, this girl who puts on a bunch of weight like it's a great thing for her.
Oh, I know.
Why are you praising that?
Well,
what happened? I mean, wait, hold on a second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is actually impressive. I think that this might be the first person in the history of media to ever get praised from a before and after of actually looking worse on the after.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. There is a woman that's like getting super Insta famous by shoveling food in her mouth, and she wants to be the fattest woman in the world. But the thing that's interesting is that this type of story is right next to another article that explains how for the first time since I think 17 or 1800s when people were extremely poor and had terrible diets, 3 out of 10 people being diagnosed with bowel cancer are under the age of 50. Bowel cancer is a disease that's mostly for people who are very obese or elderly. And now they're seeing it in some people in their 20s. They're actually recommending that they get tested for this. I mean, that just goes to show you that we are moving in a very bad direction promoting this kind of.
And I think that this is the perfect example. This is an example of the bad direction. You get in worse shape, you dye your hair 5 different colors, and then you're just basically whoring yourself out for Instagram. Putting yourself out there in your bra and panties and underwear.
It's Trump's America.
Oh, that's just great. No, that's Obama's America. Oh, there she, oh my gosh. Hi, I'm the first person that ever got famous from looking worse in the after. Stay tuned, more on InfoWars Nightly News.
This is one of the biggest secrets out there. The missing link of why our ancestors, whether you were in Africa or ancient Albion, which is England today, why our ancestors were so much stronger. I mean, there are huge archaeological reports, all sorts of anthropology studies, you can look them up for yourself, that show that humans, just an average farmer of 10,000 years ago in England, was stronger than Olympic athletes today. In the final equation, everyone knows our modern society has lost its vitality. The sperm counts are down like 90%. People are falling apart. They're totally depressed. They're unhappy. What is going on? Every ancient culture was obsessed with what I'm about to reveal to you. Today we call it bone broth, and for thousands of years our ancestors enjoyed its benefits before it became lost to our modern diets of processed junk. That's why I'm so excited to announce the product that is undoubtedly the jewel in the crown of InfoWars Life products. Caveman. We lost our vitality because we just ignored the ancient traditions. Everyone knew that you used all the parts of the animal. You used the skin to cover yourself for shelter. You used the meat for sustenance, the fat for cooking, but you used the bones for strength. We are now introducing Caveman by InfoWarsLife.com, the ultimate in true paleo nutrition with bone broth, turmeric root, chaga mushroom, and 7 total primal superfoods in a single great-tasting formula. The bone is so amazing. From the outside structure full of minerals and key cofactors to the marrow that produces the blood for the body. This is the engine of the life essence. I've made a lot of important points here, but this is the one you need to research for yourself because it's so key. High-quality bone broth helps support healthy muscles and connective tissue, while the active compounds in turmeric do battle on the cellular level and help fight free radicals. And collagen is essential to aid healthy tendons, ligaments, and muscle tissue. This is an absolute win-win. You get an amazing product produced right here in America. You support InfoWars and all we're doing to promote freedom and the restoration of our republic and promotion of freedom worldwide. The journey towards better health and giving our bodies these amazing compounds that God created starts at InfoWarsLife.com. 3 years in the making, incredible research, and the very best ingredients. I'm Alex Jones, and I may not be a caveman, but compared to these trendies out there in the street, I'm as close as it gets. Join me at InfoWarsLife.com and get your caveman formula today. The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. The key is to be aware of this attack and to fight back against it. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs harvested around the planet and then concentrated for maximum potency. I've always believed in nutrition and herbs. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality and other powerful products from InfoWars Life.
Tonight, President Trump is going to address the joint session of Congress for the first time. And of course, Obamacare is going to be on the agenda, but also tax reform. But let's not forget that Obamacare is really a tax. That's what the Supreme Court said in order to foist it upon us. They said it's a tax. Let's call it Obama tax. That's what I said last week. Obamacare is Obama tax. It's a massive tax on 1/5 of our economy. It is burdening our health care, causing costs to explode. And it's also based not only on a lie that they have the right to put this mandate upon us, but also on fraud, as we talked about yesterday. Jerome Corsi exposed the fact that Obama, when he was directed that he could not do this by both Congress and the courts, in defiance of both of them, he swept money out of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, taking money out of those organizations to fund this. It is it's a fraud at every level. But let's talk about tax reform, because one of the key things that has to happen is tax reform. And one of the tax plans that has come up is to do a border adjustment tax, a BAT. Now, this is something that Donald Trump had signaled that he didn't want to do about a month ago, but now it seems like he's warmed up to it. So we're going to talk about what it is, and we're going to talk about the politics behind it. It is now looking like this is going to be the plan that he's going to move forward with. It's something that was put out by Paul Ryan, and although that might send alarms up for you, does for me, when we look at the details, it actually looks good, and Steve Bannon appears to be on board with this at this point. Now, Trump said last Thursday, after previously saying that he didn't like the border tax, he said, I certainly support a form of tax on the border because everyone else does. We're the only country, we're one of the very few countries, possibly the only country that has no border tax. And let's understand, it's not just that we don't have a border tax, but we put a tax on our exports. It's not just that we don't tax the imports coming into our country, but we burden our domestic exporters with a tax that other countries don't. Let's talk about what's being proposed here. Now, tax plan that Donald Trump put out when he was campaigning was to take the current corporate income tax of 35% and reduce that to 15% to encourage people to build jobs and build production in the United States. The House plan would reduce it to 20%, not 15%. However, and this is the key thing, they would put a 20% tax on all imports crossing the border and a 0% tax on exports. That is the key thing. The 0% export tax, that is the key issue here, folks. Just as Donald Trump said, everybody else puts these taxes on, but we don't. Understand the way this works in the European Union. This has been a situation with European countries one by one, but then they made it all part of the European Union so that when they have exports that go out of the country, and understand their system is basically a value-added tax, a VAT, not a BAT, but a VAT. They add taxes at every level of production. So whenever it goes from one wholesaler and he does something and he makes a bigger part and he sells it to the next guy and he makes something more complex, all the way to the final end product, it is taxed at every stage. And then you see it again as a kind of sales tax. But if they export that, all those taxes are taken off. So that product doesn't carry that internal taxation with it when it goes to compete in other markets. However, if you have a U.S. manufacturer, their taxes, their 35% income tax goes with that product when we go into foreign markets to compete against them. That's the structural defect that has been hampering American businesses. It's one of the things that helped to drive this kind of outsourcing to foreign countries. Of course, also a big part of that is cheap foreign labor, slave labor in many cases. Now, you got a lot of people who have made a lot of money doing arbitrage off of that, exploiting the difference between different markets that way. Walmart is a good example of it. And of course, they're the ones who are screaming the loudest about a possible BAT. But we have to understand that that is very important to level the playing field, to get rid of taxes going out. So regardless of whether they do that border adjustment tax or not, they need to remove the taxes on goods that are going outside of the country, just as the European Union does, just to level that playing field. But let's talk about the 20%. Is that something that we should be concerned about? Well, of course, it's going to have some disruption. And we've already seen a lot of opposition. We've got 100 retailers from all different multinational corporations, different markets that have banded together to oppose an import tax. And of course, Walmart is one of those. They've taken out ads on television programs that they know that Donald Trump watches, programs like Fox and Friends and Saturday Night Live. So they took out ads to fight an import tax. I think we don't need to really be concerned about multinationals. Let's talk about what's going to happen to Main Street, not necessarily Wall Street and the multinationals. Let's talk about domestic businesses here that are here in the United States that work and grow in the United States, whether it's a small mom and pop or whether it's a large concern that are domestic corporations and people who want to sell their goods abroad. What is it going to do to them? Well, they're going to see if they're building something that they're using foreign products on that's going to raise their costs. But their competitors are also going to have that cost. So it's not going to necessarily put them at a competitive disadvantage. It will, however, raise the price for consumers. So you'll wind up paying that import tax until somebody replaces the foreign parts that are brought in to make those components. That's going to give a massive incentive for people to make an adjustment. And most of the people who are opposing this either want to continue to become millionaires off of this arbitrage of exploiting this difference between different markets, or they're discounting the flexibility of the American market. Now, we've had The Atlantic write an article about this after Donald Trump said he was open to the border adjustment tax. And the title of the article was, Paul Ryan's tax plan may not do what Trump says it will. They're not supporters of this plan. They said, we've looked at this, and Donald Trump has talked about how he's going to maybe put a 20% tariff on Mexican imports or a 45% tariff on companies that move jobs overseas. We don't really know what it's going to be. But then they take a look at some of these different scenarios. Here's one of the things that I thought was very interesting that they were talking about. They said the ever flexible U.S. dollar. They said if Congress passes Ryan's plan, most economists expect the value of the dollar to go up for reasons just complicated enough to warrant skipping over here. Why would they say that? Well, of course, one of the reasons the dollar is going to increase in value is because it's going to be good for the American economy. And it's also going to be good for the American government. They're going to be able to get a source of tax revenue without taxing American consumers. That's why it is so American. This is not something that's new, folks. We have to understand, as I've pointed out before, Glenn Beck wants to say that this is un-American, that we have to have open markets. We never had that in America before we created the income tax, the Federal Reserve, and then changed our tax structure so that we had open markets. We didn't tax goods coming into the border, but we turned all of our taxation internally on the American people. What Donald Trump is trying to do here is redirect the tax man away from the American businessman, away from the American worker. That's what Thomas Jefferson talked about doing in his second inaugural address. He said, we've eliminated all internal taxation. So what farmer, what laborer, what mechanic can say he knows a tax man? If you have a constitutional government, you can fund it on imports alone. But we need to start making this adjustment, not only downsizing the government, but making this adjustment to go away from this globalist plan that was put in 1913. They completely restructured our economy. America grew to be a powerhouse by having protected markets, in the sense that we were allowed to have a free trade zone. But now you don't even have a free trade zone with insurance competition. They don't allow insurance companies to compete across state lines. So we have to replace that. So they look at this and they say, well, the flexible dollar, the dollar will get stronger. And that will essentially, they say, even these people who oppose those tax plans say it would be a wash. That, yes, it would cause these goods to go up in price with that 20% tax, but then the stronger dollar would make them cheaper. So the consumer wouldn't see as much of a penalty. But then some people say, well, it may not happen quickly enough, so we may have some pain and some discomfort and some dislocation. Look, the American public is going to be able to move quickly to make that adjustment. So the question is, will it happen? Will it happen tonight? As we said, Donald Trump back February 11th told Wall Street Journal, I'm not really happy with that. He said, I hear border adjustment. I don't really love it because usually it means we're going to get adjusted into a bad deal. That's what usually happens. But then he said something very different when he talked to Reuters on Thursday. And now we see that Paul Ryan and Stephen Bannon are forging an unexpected alliance on the border tax. This is what Bloomberg reports. They say he's now found an ally in Steve Bannon. Why? I think it is an excellent idea. It is exactly what we need to have happen. We need to protect our exports, and we need to redirect this triage that has made a fortune off of exploiting our tax system and cheap foreign labor. So do we want to get rid of a 35% penalty on the goods that we export to other countries so we can be more competitive? Do we want to put an import tax on goods coming in so that we can start making our own parts, making things here in this country? I think we do. Stay tuned. We're going to see what Donald Trump offers tonight when he addresses Congress in the first joint session.
Everyone knows that InfoWars funds our operation by selling high-quality products that we use and that everybody needs at very competitive, affordable prices. And so I get questions all the time over the years. Why don't you sell body armor at InfoWarsStore.com? Or why don't you have sponsors that sell body armor? And it's simple. I will only promote and I will only sell the very, very best out there. And there's a nexus point. There's quality versus price, and those 2 points have to come together. National Defense Labs and its civilian subsidiary, Citizen Armor, has given InfoWars the exclusive on distributing to the American people the true next generation in body armor. People are always saying, it's the 21st century. Where are the silver jetpacks? And where's Buck Rogers and the Sky Cars? Well, the globalists have basically suppressed a lot of those developments. They admit they want a post-industrial world. They call any technology that gets around their systems of control disruptive. Well, believe me, this is disruptive to tyrants worldwide.
Basically, what we're bringing to the InfoWars team is a new line of dynamic, lightweight body armor. It's nanotube technology. It's created here in Texas. It is lighter, more flexible, easier to wear, more comfortable, and stronger than anything else on the market. We've went out and did some testing. We originally found their claims, saw what they said. We were all kind of hesitant to believe that something so light, so flexible, could be so strong. So what we did is we went out, we used different pistols, different calibers to test different pieces of the body armor to ensure that it was up to the high standards that we expect to carry here at the InfoWars store.
Born in Texas, made in America, exclusively available at InfoWarsStore.com right now.
I mean, it's unbelievable. It's 1/4 inch thick. I mean, it's got a 20-year warranty. It's waterproof. You can wear it. It's comfortable. I mean, it's not bulky. I mean, that's the biggest, I think, intrigue for you, Alex.
The biggest thing for us is, unfortunately, we live in a society now where we need to be able to defend ourselves and our families at any time. And this is something that is so thin and so lightweight.
You said when you talk to people that have been using this, actually testing it for years, and people that currently test it for us, they didn't just say outstanding. I mean, what did they really say about this?
No, this is through the roof. They want to know, how do they get it? Where do they find it? A lot of my law enforcement official buddies want to know the same thing because they're wearing these big, heavy, bulky vests that don't work as well. So they're looking for something you can wear all day, 12 hours a day, in and out of a car.
And 90, I mean, you can look up the numbers, 90+% of fatalities with guns when they're used in victim of crime, I think it's like 94, is pistols or shotguns. This stops that unless it's a slug. I mean, that's amazing. So they can wear this, and only somebody with a rifle around is going to get through it. And soon, and then we'll have it, if it's available to civilians, we're not sure, we're going to have the stuff that's, I mean, unstoppable. This deal is so insane, is so good, it makes my head spin. But I guess the first people to sell cars kind of had to give them away. People didn't believe it. Hell, I don't want that thing. I feed my horse hay. The backpack body armor is only $200. And we shot everything you can imagine at it. Again, fund the InfoWar. Get the game-changing nanotech tubes from Buck Rogers. It's a win-win. $200. Go check out all their different products at InfoWarsStore.com. It's amazing.
Right now, the global elite are preparing for something big. It looks like they are in the final stages of positioning themselves for a worldwide global pandemic, an event that they say is not a matter of if, but a matter of when it will happen. Now, recently, we've noticed that Bill and Melinda Gates, well, they've been giving a lot of speeches lately, publicly warning that the world is at risk of a deadly outbreak. On February 18th at the Munich Security Conference, they said that a bioterrorist could use a genetically engineered epidemic that could kill up to 30 million people.
We also face a new threat that the next epidemic has a good chance of originating on a computer screen of a terrorist intent on using genetic engineering to create a synthetic version of the smallpox virus or a contagious and highly deadly strain of flu. Whether it occurs by the quirk of nature or at the hand of a terrorist, epidemiologists show through their models that a respiratory spread pathogen would kill more than 30 million people in less than a year.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is known for its global vaccine programs and the tragic incidents that left over 40,000 children paralyzed. Some children even died from the vaccines. The Gates Foundation's practices of bad science on innocent children has compelled the Indian government to refuse funding from Bill Gates and restrict their relationship. InfoWars has exhaustively covered the Gates family participation in global eugenics schemes such as Planned Parenthood, global vaccine failures, alliances with foundations such as the Rockefellers, who sponsor dozens of population control centers, as well as ominous quotes like this.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
On January 18th, in an article titled, "Bill Gates is teaming up with world leaders to stop the next deadly pandemic," Business Insider reported that governments from Germany, Japan, and Norway have pooled funds along with the Gates Foundation to raise a total of $490 million, which Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, or CEPA, says will help finance the first 5 years of research and development. Now, Bill Gates appeared at January 2017's Davos World Economic Forum, flaunting his CEPA program. CBS News headline, "Bill Gates on how to outsmart global epidemics." The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is listed as a member of the World Health Organization, which means the World Health Organization gets their money in part from Gates. If the chips fall, it's the foundations and trust funds that want to be the ones sitting at the very top. So what's their next move? Well, we could simply turn to their own actions and their own writings for the answers. In early 2017, the Oxford Press released Governing Global Health, Who Runs the World and Why? And it was authored by none other than Chelsea Clinton and co-authored by Devi Sridhar. The book discusses the current global model of principal agency theory, or public-private partnership funding, and managing a coordinated response of a worldwide pandemic. Now, in this book, Chelsea Clinton suggests ways that the request of those financing these plans are heard loud and clear and acted upon appropriately. In the case of a world pandemic, make no bones about it, it will be the mega banks who will run the world. In late January 2017, the World Health Organization warned that the world cannot afford to miss the early signals of a possible human flu pandemic, and the Organization of Animal Health, OIE, says the concurrent outbreaks in birds in recent months are of a global public health concern. As Rahm Emanuel infamously said, we should never let a good crisis go to waste.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Well, a perfect crisis for the globalist would be an out-of-control pandemic. Again, this would trigger their assumed international rule over the management of such a crisis. This could mean global mandate from sources like the Gates Foundation, an unelected foundation, and whatever visions, right or wrong, they feel is good for the world. On January 25th, 2017, the New York Times reported that they obtained a draft of an upcoming Trump administration executive order to reduce the United States contribution to the UN by at least 40%. The first of two draft orders titled Auditing and Reducing U.S. Funding of International Organizations. I like the sound of that. And it names criteria within certain UN agencies and other international bodies that will forfeit American support. What was not mentioned in this report was mention on if or how this order will deal with the World Health Organization and other international health agencies that the UN will rely on if a deadly global outbreak occurs. When finalizing this order, we urge President Trump to consider the ramifications of such an event and how U.S. funding of the World Health Organization will bolster their legitimacy. Beyond the disastrous death count that this event could cause, the push by an international body to put the United States government second place to a global management system is also at risk. In the case of such an event, the United States must remain in ultimate control of all of its resources. This new executive order, if the New York Times is reporting this accurately, would make a great opportunity to disable this threat before it takes flight.
Hillary Clinton just can't keep her mouth shut. Hillary is now backseat tweeting the Trump administration after reacting to a recent shooting in Kansas where the perpetrator allegedly shot 3 men after allegedly telling them to get out of his country. Of course, no rational Trump supporter condones this criminal behavior. In the words of Brooklyn Democrat Assemblyman Dov Hikind, where are the liberal leaders when Jewish cemeteries are desecrated and campuses are painted with swastikas and racial slurs? How are the leaders of Democrats communicating with and reining in their followers when these crimes are committed? It's simple. They're not. Instead, they found an easy answer. Blame Trump. Basing her illusion on the information of the ADL and the SPLC, Hillary tweeted, "With threats and hate crime on the rise, we shouldn't have to tell POTUS to do his part. He must step up and speak out." This from the woman that refused to concede on the night of the election results.
Listen to me. Everybody should head home. You should get some sleep. We'll have more to say tomorrow.
But isn't Trump speaking out already? After all, isn't the global anti-Americanism, not to mention division and lawlessness in the United States, a direct result of Alinskyite Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State under 8 years of Obama's Cloward and Piven strategy? Remember this?
My wife's my faith, yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. I trust this relationship. We're living around that.
This is what it really looks like when a president makes a deal with the Russian government, placing United States national security at risk. National Review wrote, in 2009, President Obama surreptitiously sent a letter to the Russians offering to cancel plans to install a missile defense site in Poland and corresponding radar apparatus in the Czech Republic. These would have provided an additional layer of protection for the United States and its allies from Iranian long-range missiles. The Obama administration did end up canceling the planned missile defense deployment, and the United States, to this day, remains underprotected from Iranian ballistic missiles, even as the Iranians exploit relaxed UN Security Council missile restrictions, thanks to the Obama administration, and continue to test long-range ballistic missiles.
And you can say very nicely that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama gave us ISIS. Now we're trying to get rid of ISIS.
I suspect Hillary and Obama's hubris will eventually die out once they realize that America is too busy fixing the problems they created to listen to the same rhetoric that got us all here in the first place. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Alex Jones here with a very important news update to anybody out there that wants to be prepared. But it goes beyond being prepared. Our bodies absolutely must have the good halogen iodine or we will die. And you look at all of the thyroid problems and all the people that don't have energy and that have all sorts of hormone problems. And from my research and a lot of just mainline research, it leads back to iodine over and over and over again. It's as important as vitamin C. If you don't get iodine, you die. But most people are just deficient, so they're low energy, they're sick. You got to have iodine in your body so that your body can produce the hormones you need. It is the base to so many things. And since I got into iodine 4 years ago, we've helped change the entire paradigm by developing and bringing to the public deep earth crystals from 7,000 to 12,000 feet of the purest iodine available. Other iodine comes from the ocean or from other byproducts of chemical facilities, and it's tainted. It's bound. It's not absorbable. I tried it. And I had incredible effects even with dirty iodine because the body needs it. When you don't have iodine, it absorbs the chlorine, the fluoride, and all these other bad halogens. Do yourself and your family a favor and check out the importance of iodine for yourself. I think you're going to be blown away. And whatever you do, support the broadcast and get a bottle of Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2. Also consult your physician because if you've been deficient in it or have other issues, it can have some dramatic effects. As for me and most folks I talk to, it's been a game changer in the positive column, but still consult your physician because iodine is no joke. It's a key building block of the body. And if you haven't had it for a long time and suddenly have it, some folks say they've experienced things like a detoxing effect and things like that. You've got to have vitamin C. You've got to have iodine to live. You've got to have water to live. Iodine is key. You must have it, but consult your physician first before you get powerful Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2 at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll free. We can answer your questions, 888-253-3139.
we are transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the people.
Wow, and that's not rhetoric. You can say what you want about President Trump. He's actually delivering on his promises. It's almost like it's magic. Millie Weaver's going to be with me here for the 15 minutes or so before the president gives his first address to Congress. And then we are going to have Leanne McAdoo and Owen Schroyer also in our sister studio giving their commentary and analysis for an hour or so. We're going to have Roger Stone and Dr. Jerome Corsi popping in for at least an hour, hour and a half after the show while we take your phone calls and go over the analysis of the speech we're about to hear. It became a big story yesterday and today when we got about an hour before even other Republicans and Libertarians got the talking points of the president. And that came from one of the advisors of the president in the White House. It's not that big a deal. We're a major media outlet, okay? I mean, come on. I mean, I know CNN wishes they were as big as PewDiePie or InfoWars. You're just not. Or Breitbart or Drudge. But then we've actually got, I'm going to show this on camera, actually got the actual bullet points for each section of the speech he's about to give, and this is powerful. There is a renewed spirit of optimism sweeping the country. We're thinking like Americans again, dreaming big, building, undertaking monumental tasks, and solving enormous problems. So this is going to be a big speech. Now, I want to address something before I get Millie's take on this, and we can also put maybe in split screen what's happening on C-SPAN as we analyze their coverage of what's about to happen there at the Capitol. But this is a joint session of Congress about to be addressed only 40-something days into office by President 45. So you guys can split screen anytime you want what's happening on C-SPAN for people that want to be able to watch that or be able to see what Pence and others are doing behind the scenes there with Paul Ryan. But to expand on all that, I see this meme now in MSM, in corporate media, and globalist media that I'm a bootlicker, I'm a sellout, I'm a groveler to Trump. And I see it in the comments on InfoWars. We can track the IP addresses. It's mainly bots causing the discussion. It's not a big deal. It's not effective. But I want to call it out because I'm totally genuine in what I believe and what I stand for. And it's just this. Trump is destroying the globalist and the corporations that have hijacked our nation and others and that control us through the IMF, the World Bank, and these centralized systems. All over the world, this revolution against corporate tyranny and neocolonialism is taking place. It's explosive. It's unstoppable. The waves just get bigger. It's exponential. And Trump, whether it's getting out of TPP day one or moving to secure our borders or having $2+ trillion already in the stock market and the best small business numbers since 1984 and optimism, the highest it's been in 30+ years as well, that's all real because he's announcing we're open for business. And even Bloomberg has to admit in their financials that it's all grassroots mom and pop of every race, color, and creed, all bleeding red blood, one race. So this is real. And I can't believe how real it is and what a champion Trump is and how he's destroying political correctness, how he's kicking MSM out of the press conferences, at least part of the time to let in new media, independent media, new blood, how he's not going to the correspondence dinner, how he's letting all these addled mummies, like you're seeing on screen right now, you know, with C-SPAN projecting into this mausoleum with all these, you know, Scarborough and people that the guy has maybe 1 million viewers in the morning. I mean, we have that every hour terrestrial radio. We have upwards of 6-7 million viewers a day, listeners total. I'm not bragging. There are people a lot bigger than us, quite frankly. They don't cover hardcore info, but I mean, this is crazy. Drudge has 20 million unique visitors a day. So MSNBC doesn't have that daily. So I'm just tired of them and their stuffed suits up there thinking this country's there to serve the globalists. It's not. So here's the deal. Our listeners, our viewers, you out there got Trump elected. Our shirts were 1/3 of the shirts at all the big rallies and in Cleveland. Everybody knows that. Our ideas of restoring the republic are dominating everything. What we want, we're getting. We're winners. We're not losers. Does it mean we live in a perfect world or some utopia panacea? Hell no. But it means when you fight for something and you stand for it long enough, and if it's a superior idea to the tyranny that they're selling, we can win. This is a free will universe. And so when Trump does things that are wrong, I will expose it and talk about it. Quite frankly, he's reversed the stuff he was wrong on, like torture. They're saying something about amnesty now. Of course, we've got 30 million people here illegally. If they're not felons, if they're skilled, if they're students, whatever, he's going to legalize them. The criminals and all the scum, I don't care where you're from, whether you're from Russia or Mexico or, you know, the continent of Africa, it doesn't matter, or Islamic, you're out. You got rape convictions, you're here, you're gone. But as what Trump always said, once we do that, we're going to make it easier to become an American. We need to compete. America aborted most of its babies, okay? So we need to have people in. But Trump's always been honest. It's like the evangelicals who I love, who support Trump. But so many of the super right-wing ones go, you know, Trump, he hates gay people, I'm for him. He never said that. He never did that. So now they're mad at him because he's not, like, you know, out to get people. And then the leftist gay people are running around making up lies about Trump. The truth is Trump wants a fair shake for everybody. Millie Weaver's going to be riding shotgun. We're going to have limited commentary as we cover different feeds of this from Congress today and give commentary and analysis. But Millie, we've got Leanne and Owen who did earlier commentary in the 45 minutes before us. Excellent. Listeners and viewers need to send the links out that they see on Facebook and YouTube and InfoWars, our own feed, out to everybody. That's how we get millions of new viewers, not just our regular viewers or listeners. And our average live event we're doing is getting over 2 million viewers. So that's very, very, very exciting. But Millie, we're just in a few minutes, are going to start slowly fading up audio under us of what's happening in Congress, kind of a background noise for viewers. Let's kind of, you know, turn up the volume about a third for folks. But give me your take on this.
Well, I'm just really excited to see President Donald Trump give his address to Congress. I mean, I really think it's going to be a very, very powerful speech. Most of his speeches always have been very powerful, but I just really have a feeling that we're definitely going to feel a lot of inspiration here. And Donald Trump is doing what he can to fulfill his campaign promises, and he's already done so much.
No one in modern history has done this, and he's so genuine. I'm sorry, I just report the facts. And our will has been tied to him and what he's doing. So that's pushing him to do exactly what he said he would do, and that's why he's got so many enemies in the establishment.
Yes, and they want to try and make up any lies they can to try and say he's veering from his campaign pledges when he's done no such thing. And like you were saying, Alex, about how there was some talk of amnesty, Donald Trump during his campaigns always was focusing on the criminals, the people who are coming here to commit crimes.
He would say the bad people, the rapists, the murderers, the bank robbers, and they would just cut to, I hate Mexicans.
Exactly. So that was always a fake news story, a tagline that they were creating that he wanted to deport
and then they
all
say
Mexicans.
He's flip-flopping when he's not flip-flopped on anything.
That's exactly it. You know, they're master manipulators, master spinsters. That's what they do in the mainstream media, and that's why Donald Trump, they're sending us the bullet points. They're sending us the talking points. They're not, we don't know, but I mean, I highly doubt they're getting this type of information.
No, the Washington Post freaked out and thought we made that up yesterday. They saw Spicer reading it word for word hours later after we posted it, and they said, oh my God, this is real. And again, there's the First Lady. Again, this is about having pride in America again. They wanted us to not believe in nationalism. They want us to feel like failures. They didn't want us to have optimism. But all the numbers are in. The fact that America's open for business again is sending shockwaves around the world, and it's going to lift up other countries. And I love how Trump's brought back in God. She gave the Lord's Prayer last week. Meanwhile, the witches and communists and devil worshippers all had their own, you know, Satan worship events against them. They'll probably have, you know, the New York Times say, I'm crazy. There was Satanism against Trump. It was all over the news Friday.
Exactly.
But I'll cover the news, and they'll say, I made that up, Millie.
Yep, that's it. They just spin all kinds of lies. But I just wanted to point out how wonderful Melania Trump and Ivanka Trump look so far. I mean, we have such a classy first family. I'm really proud of the people who are representing us in this nation right now.
Well, again, we've had all these one-sided deals, and all we have to do is say no more one-sided deals, and the jobs are going to flood back. I was talking to David Knight, who had a special report just about 30 minutes ago we aired today about how they have trade deals where you have zero corporate tax if you're exporting stuff out of the U.S. That's what Germany and the EU has. The EU has, in many cases, lower taxes than us when it comes to exports. It's the same deal. Literally, there's been a screw job against America. This is the globalist program. There is Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State, again, who fought the globalists for a long time, had to roll over to him for a while, but we'll see if he delivers on cutting carbon taxes. They're now actually delivering on that. So this is a big deal, folks. And you got Sessions coming in. You've got Secretary of Defense Mattis behind him. This is a big deal, folks. These are people that know America can dominate through soft power, through ideas, $1 trillion in infrastructure investment, $54 billion in defense spending. It's all fiat money anyways. Just create jobs, accelerate technology, cut taxes on poor people and middle class. Trump's trying to get his agenda through. Only a small part's gotten through, but at record speed. And already we see the best economy since the Reagan recovery. Took Reagan 3.5 years to get that. Trump already has similar numbers in just, 45 days since he was sworn in on January 20th.
That's right. And that's because, you know, all the business insiders and the business owners know that Donald Trump is going to bring business back to America. He's going to bring those industrial working jobs to America, which is going to boost the economy.
There's been regulatory tariffs to block it, exactly. Anybody can Google, even Bloomberg today. It's been small businesses and mom and pops that are driving the stock market boom.
That's right.
So these elites that were against the boom, Goldman Sachs is making record money off our exuberance. See, now we get a little bit. We have this unlimited platform of technology. We should be working 3 days a week, folks. Most futurists have documented with the technology we have. Millie, I'm really excited about the speech. What do you think is going to come out of this? I mean, Trump says this is his most important speech yet.
Well, I think that he's definitely gonna talk about where he's gonna take the nation. I think he's gonna talk about schools because that seems to be a high priority. He's gonna talk on how, you know, how he wants to bring jobs and business back to America. Sure. He's gonna touch on a lot of important issues, but I do know that he did say that he was gonna address child care, and he was gonna talk about how
for
child
women
care
to be able to absolutely have a write-off for child care. That'd be huge.
Yes, and
we're talking like $10,000 a year. Look at this. President's address to joint session of Congress. The president is committed to keeping his promises to the American people. Whole subsection on that. Looking forward, the president will lay out, CNN doesn't have this, an optimistic vision for the nation with a focus on government putting the interests of the American people first, which Glenn Beck calls dangerous. Imagine a country being for its people. That's like saying, you know, again, fish need water. We must restart the engine of American economy, which has been stalled by design under Agenda 21. Our people must have access to quality, affordable health care of their choosing. Continuing on here, every parent deserves a choice and a child deserves a chance. And that gets at everything you were just talking about. Every family deserves an opportunity to live in peace and safety in their homes and communities, anti-crime. Looking forward, America First policy calls for robust engagement with a world in an area of mutual interest. So deals by deals between nations, not through some UN or IMF or TPP or World Bank or WTO, World Trade Organization, where you and your politicians sell your interest in a secret agreement. Your politicians leave and become heads of these new shadow boards. Day one kills the TPP. You look at what Trump's done. Bills introduced for open carry nationwide. Signs an executive order so the IRS and his 18,000 agents hired can't penalize you $5,000 a year for not having Obamacare. On and on and on. And it's not that Trump's even perfect. He's just not out to sell out America and screw over the country to build a bunch of global corporations that are above the law, tax exempt, total control. Millie?
That's exactly it. I mean, for once, we actually have a president. I'm sure we've had presidents before that are for the American people, but it just seems like it's been so long until we've had somebody that actually will represent our interests, not those of the globalists, not those of the New World Order and other interests. And he's made that pretty clear. And that's why I think it's even amazing that on there it says he's going to address Agenda 21. I mean, that was once kind of a little bit of conspiracy that we were talking about how they were trying to run these things, these operations. And now it's like it's right out in the open because we have a president that's going to speak the truth.
That's right. And world government is being established by private corporations. They think we're done. They think we're over. They think we're stupid. But if we identify how we've been conquered by these interests, then we can make real deals as a nation, as a union. That's what a country is a union of people that have shared beliefs and ideas, and then it's a competition of nations through solidarity, sometimes war, but mainly through trade and ideas and sports for what you want to be and where you want to go. If you just tuned in, a lot of radio stations are picking this up. I'm Alex Jones. Millie Weaver's here with us. This is InfoWars News Center coverage from Austin, Texas, right in the middle, southern middle of the country, broadcasting worldwide on stations, TV, radio, UHF, VHF cable around the country. And President Trump, it's 8:03 Central, 9:03 Eastern. He's set to make an hour-long first address to Congress. This is not a State of the Union. This is a first address. Obama did this too. One of the first to do this in modern times. And so Trump obviously wants to show folks he's presidential. He's delivering on promises. He wants to talk directly to the American people and say help is on the way. Please, we want to unify everybody. Don't let the globalists sell us out. Here's Paul Ryan. Here we go.
States.
Very imperial, very Romanesque. As they announced the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, President 45, They said this would never happen. And here it is as he comes in. Imagine political correctness, globalism, the tyranny, the open borders, all of it is now on the run. The gun control, on the run, the whole system. But here's the deal. I'd love to sit here as the loyal opposition or whatever and say, oh, he's not perfect, and oh my gosh, we're in deep trouble. But the truth is, we're winning. We've got a long road, but if people are positive and take action and realize MSM has almost no viewers and listeners and realize they're a fraud, that final facade is going to collapse. And it's not a utopia we're saying is coming, but it's something much, much better than the Cloward and Piven Agenda 21 globalist system that's turned off our industry, the elite Hollywood people on the West Coast, not the New Yorkers themselves, but as Trump said, the New York elite on the East Coast, the D.C. elite, the East and West Coast, dominant elites, playing games, exploiting America, selling our interest off to the communist Chinese and others.
Exactly, and Hillary was
Melania does look stunning.
Yeah, she looks amazing. Melania always looks amazing. I absolutely love her. And, you know, I just want to touch on how this is not part of the globalist plan. This was supposed to be Hillary Clinton walking through to go address Congress to tell everybody how we're going to undo the First Amendment, how we're going to undo the Second Amendment. I mean, this was supposed to be Hillary Clinton.
She was supposed to be in right now. And remember how they all made fun of the Correspondents' Dinner a few years ago that he'd never win and made fun of him there, and how all the pundits and all the John Olivers and all the King's horses and all the King's men told us this. And even Paul Ryan up there, Pence looks genuine with adoration for Trump. But you sit there and you see Ryan, and he's better than Trump. Sitting there, oh, he's better than the American people. He's smart. He's a psychopath. He's blue eyes. You know, he's Eddie Munster. And he's going to show Trump he's bigger and better. Believe me, Ryan's got to be watched very carefully. He's the one blocking the whole agenda.
Well, I do hope that Donald Trump touches a little bit on draining the swamp and some of the problems. Oh, don't worry, draining the swamp's coming up first. Yeah, that needs to be touched on, because the amount of leaks and the fact that they have mutiny on board, and he can't even pin it down who in their press corps has been leaking stuff. I mean,
well, it's Reince Priebus, and he tells Trump, "Oh, sir, it's not us. They're just making it up." And then why is it a gestalt of what's going on in the meetings? But folks, this is somebody that's a nationalist that believes in America. It doesn't mean all his answers are perfect. It doesn't mean he's not imperfect and working through imperfect people. This is why the globalists and the elites and the communist Chinese and the Saudi Arabian Wahhabists and the EU and the communists and everybody are against Trump. Because America still has incredible power. It was meant to be squeezed out to build this world government. We were meant to now fall in a global depression in the next decade to bring in world government where they would dictate the terms of our surrender, but now it's not happening. And we're here live sharing this together. This is Providence. This is victory. Now let's listen to the 45th president in his first address to Congress. Imagine Trump is savoring this victory right now. The uphill battle with the American people. This is all our victory. Because he's 40-something days in, he's been delivering. This will be a day long remembered. We've seen the end of Hillary. We'll soon see the end of Soros.
Yes, we will.
And again, this isn't about a power trip. It's about people realizing the innate power they've got through God. Our listeners were the core group that helped this victory take place, but they had to have a focal point. A champion was fearless like 45. Here he is. Look how presidential he looks. Reagan didn't look like that.
Thank you very much.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and the distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
And you're watching Infowars.com live coverage of this. You want to see the video? You go to Infowars.com/show. We'll have live coverage after and your phone calls. Infowars.com/show. Spread that link. Be part of history.
And I think he looks great. You know, they try to make fun of his image, but he looks great. His hair looks great. He looks really professional and classy.
He's lost weight, too. I mean, I'm saying Trump looks very presidential. It's almost unreal. Here we go.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, members of Congress, the First Lady of the United States.
This is the return of the Republic, like I said on January 20th. America reborn, if we want it. Here we go. And his lovely immigrant wife. Weasel Paul Ryan.
Citizens of America, tonight, as we mark the conclusion of our celebration of Black History Month, we are reminded of our nation's path towards civil rights and the work that still remains to be done.
So attempting to be inclusive, unified. They'll claim that's racist on they've been stolen corporate press, the fake news, fake stream media. The enemy of the American people.
Yeah.
The media. Yeah.
The media. The MSM.
We're giving analysis and commentary. People want to feed free of us. It's everywhere. That's how we're able to carry this, though, commentary.
Recent threats targeting Jewish community centers and vandalism of Jewish cemeteries, as well as last week's shooting in Kansas City, remind us that while we may be a nation divided on policies, we are a country that stands united in condemning hate and evil in all of its very ugly forms.
But wait, you know, the left likes to say that he's such a bigot and a racist and a hateful, spiteful
That's all they've got, they're race pimps. But, I mean, that's why he has to go directly to the people. That's what he's a genius at, is bypassing them. They're so weak now. That's what's so pathetic. They haven't figured it out yet. Back to the president.
Passes the torch of truth, liberty, and justice in an unbroken chain all the way down to the president. That torch is now in our hands, and we will use it to light up the world. I am here tonight to deliver a message of unity and strength, and it is a message deeply delivered from my heart. A new chapter.
Keep talking about that unbroken chain through our ancestors.
American greatness is now beginning. A new national pride is sweeping across our nation.
Oh, look, I have right here.
And a new surge of optimism is placing impossible dreams firmly within our grasp. What we are witnessing today is the renewal of the American spirit. Our allies will find that America is once again ready to lead.
He wants to unite a divided nation.
Again, Trump wrote the notes that you're hearing. He writes his own speeches.
Yeah, I believe
That's just crazy. And then
he doesn't just speak off a teleprompter.
No, even
all
when
the
it is a
nations
teleprompter,
of
it's
the
him.
world, friend or foe, will find that America is strong, America is proud, and America is free. In 9 years, the United States will celebrate the 250th anniversary of our founding. 250 years since the day we declared our independence. It will be one of the great milestones in the history of the world. But what will America look like as we reach our 250th year? What kind of country will we leave for our children?
That's right, there's two choices. He's about to get into
I will not allow the mistakes of recent decades past to define the course of our future. For too long, we've watched our middle class shrink as we've exported our jobs and wealth to foreign countries. We've financed and built one global project after another.
Look at the Democrats.
But ignored the fates
They work
of
for
our
foreign
children.
banks to make everybody
The
poor.
inner
They're
cities
just
of
such
Chicago,
scum. Sorry.
Baltimore, Detroit, and so many other places throughout our land. We've defended the borders of other nations while leaving our own borders wide open for anyone to cross and for drugs to pour in at a now unprecedented rate. And we've spent trillions and trillions of dollars overseas while our infrastructure at home has so badly crumbled.
See around here around the swamp.
Then in 2016, the earth shifted beneath our feet. The rebellion started as a quiet protest, spoken by families of all colors and creeds, families who just wanted a fair shot for their children and a fair hearing for their concerns. But then the quiet voices became a loud chorus as thousands of citizens now spoke out together from cities small and large all across our country. Finally, the chorus became an earthquake, and the people turned out by the tens of millions, and they were all united by one very simple but crucial demand: that America must put its own citizens first.
That's right.
Because only then can we truly make America great again.
Yeah, special interests were selling off the most wealthy country in the world that had more than half the world's wealth. These globalists sold it out.
You know, we should not take in a single refugee until we've housed all of our veterans, because we have so many homeless veterans out there. It's insane.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
Our country's collapsing.
These people, you know, risk their lives for us, for our freedoms.
Will come roaring back to life. Heroic veterans will get the care they so desperately need.
There you go.
Our military will be given the resources its brave warriors so richly deserve. Crumbling infrastructure will be replaced with new roads, bridges, tunnels, airports, and railways gleaming across our very, very beautiful land. Our terrible drug epidemic will slow down and ultimately stop. And our neglected inner cities will see a rebirth of hope, safety, and opportunity.
And if we have the hope,
above all else,
it will manifest. We have the infrastructure. He's right. Already, look at what's happening.
People.
But we have to stop being so nasty, like the Democrats, who are openly programmed by globalists that just want us to be a bunch of idiots that roll over to globalism. They write white papers on this.
It's been a little over a month since my inauguration, and I want to take this moment to update the nation on the progress I've made in keeping those promises. Since my election, Ford, Fiat Chrysler, General Motors, Sprint, SoftBank, Lockheed, Intel, Walmart, and many others have announced that they will invest billions and billions of dollars in the United States.
Wow.
And will create tens of thousands of
That means jobs, economy growth, everything. That's amazing.
And over $2 trillion in the stock market. Oh. It'd be too hard for him to list it all. It would sound ridiculous. But yeah, we'll go back to the president here. I know we're jumping in, folks, but this is commentary analysis. Look at Nancy Pelosi. She looks like Skeletor. Back to the president. Here we go.
The stock market has gained almost $3 trillion in value since the election on November 8th.
That's an old number, yeah. It's almost 3. Sorry.
We've saved taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars by bringing down the price of fantastic, and it is a fantastic, new F-35 jet fighter, and we'll be saving billions more on contracts all across our government. We have placed a hiring freeze on non-military and non-essential federal workers. We have begun to drain the swamp of government corruption by imposing a 5-year ban on lobbying by executive branch
No one ever did that. No one ever followed that. He fired everybody.
Wow.
Nobody's ever done that. He did it. See, that's so much he's done. I mean, it's just, I don't want to just sit here and grovel. People say, oh, yeah. It's easy to sit there and act like you don't want to save the country and just say everybody's a failure and just say everybody's fake. No, he's delivering. It's sickening, actually. It's ridiculous. That's why the lobbyists hate him.
On becoming lobbyists for a foreign government. We have undertaken a historic effort to massively reduce job-crushing regulations.
Paul Ryan can't
creating a deregulation task force inside of every government agency.
Yeah, Paul Ryan's facial expressions. Oh, there's a fake
he's totally
smile.
fake.
But he was totally mad-dogging him.
Well, he's just acting like he's going along with it. He can't stand it.
We're proposing a new rule which mandates that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated.
You already signed the executive order. I love it. Just keep listing everything he's done. He won't list bringing back free speech, though, and standing up for the fake media.
Yep.
The regulations that threaten the future and livelihood of our great coal miners.
Yes. It's lowering energy prices. That's the big one. That's why the jobs aren't here. Look, folks, we wanted to take the government back. We want to be winners. That's what I kept telling people. We can win. We're doing it now.
Yeah, he's undoing all of their
We've still got a long road. We've still got a long road.
Of the Keystone and Dakota Access pipelines
This cuts off Soros, who was shipping it via train to the West Coast to go to China.
Yeah, it was going right over their water via train. What's the difference of it being under? It would be safer under than if the train
They just didn't want us to get
crashed.
the oil in Texas.
Thousands of jobs. And I've issued a new directive that new American pipelines be made with American steel.
Yes. Going to build pipelines, it's going to be American steel. What do you think China does? Or Japan?
Yeah.
Or Germany? All the same deal. That isn't free trade when they have screw jobs on us. We're going to do just what they did. See how they like it.
Yeah, he's doing everything to make the American economy stronger.
From the job-killing Trans-Pacific Partnership.
That's the big one. Killed the TPP that was unelected, secret.
And with the help of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, we have formed a council with our neighbors in Canada to help ensure that women entrepreneurs have access to the networks, markets, and capital they need to start a business and live out their financial dreams.
That's right.
Wow.
North American Initiative for Women.
Yeah.
Don't hear that from the Democrats because they want you poor under their control.
But yet they had
Look at Pocahontas.
the women's
Look
march.
at Pocahontas. She didn't know what to do.
And they had the women's march in D.C. All these women saying, Trump's against women. Well, there you have it. I mean, what other president has done that?
To protect our citizens, I have directed the Department of Justice to form a task force on reducing violent crime. I have further ordered the Departments of Homeland Security and Justice, along with the Department of State and the Director of National Intelligence, to coordinate an aggressive strategy to dismantle the criminal cartels that have spread all across our nation.
He's draining the swamp, and those are the ones who buy off the politicians and bribe them, so that's just part of draining the swamp, getting rid of the cartels.
We will stop the drugs from pouring into our country and poisoning our youth, and we will expand treatment for those who have become so badly addicted.
It's good. See, not lock them up, but actually get them treated. They just showed that congressman that was like, American people know there's smoke with Russia. Meanwhile, the intelligence committee head came out and said there's nothing.
My administration has answered the pleas of the American people for immigration enforcement and border security.
Which every other country has, but under globalism we're not supposed to have, is we won't have a country.
By finally enforcing our immigration laws, we will raise wages, help the unemployed, save billions and billions of dollars, and make our communities safer for everyone.
Again, you're watching and listening to live analysis and coverage of Trump's historic.
We want all Americans to succeed, but that can't happen in an environment of lawless chaos. We must restore integrity and the rule of law at our borders.
And live coverage of Trump's first speech to Congress. Infowars.com/show. Spread that link. We'll have an hour of commentary after this is over in your phone calls. A bunch of guests are joining us. Roger Stone, Dr. Corsi, Leanne McAdoo, Owen Schroyer, and others. I'm here with Millie Weaver, giving limited commentary.
For that reason, we will soon begin the construction of a great, great wall along our southern border.
The Great Wall of America.
I heard some booing.
Yeah, I am hearing booing, too.
Well, Mexico can have a wall, China can have a wall, but we can't. The Democrats got walls around their houses.
As we speak tonight, we are removing gang members, drug dealers, and criminals that threaten our communities and prey on our very innocent citizens.
That's right. They even come into Austin.
Bad ones are going out as I speak.
With ICE.
And as I
will
promised,
release a murderer or whatever,
throughout
they
the
grab them.
campaign. To any in Congress who do not believe we should enforce our laws, I would ask you this one question. What would you say to the American family that loses their jobs, their income, or their loved one because America refused to uphold its laws and defend its borders?
Yeah, what about the citizens?
Exactly. What about the people?
We're not supposed to even be citizens. We don't get anything for paying taxes. And there's the head of a border operation.
Our obligation is to serve, protect and defend the citizens of the United States.
That's right.
We are also taking strong measures to protect our nation from radical Islamic terrorism.
Yeah, never supposed to say that. Another big taboo he broke.
There you go. Well, he's not a
and
career...
then Paul Ryan stands up for that.
And he's not a career politician. That's the thing, you know. All these other people, these congressmen and people that are upset about him getting rid of the lobbying, well, it's because we need more people who are not
We need a
career
government that doesn't do what lobbyists say but follows the law.
Provided by the Department of Justice, the vast majority of individuals convicted of terrorism and terrorism-related offenses since 9/11 came here from outside of our country. We have seen the attacks at home, from Boston to San Bernardino to the Pentagon, and yes, even the World Trade Center. We have seen the attacks in France, in Belgium, in Germany, and all over the world. It is not compassionate, but reckless to allow uncontrolled entry from places where proper vetting cannot occur.
The left and the globalists have been bought up by radical Islam. This is an open invasion. They admit that. ISIS admits they're invading. They want to use the destabilization and then bring in a police state. And Trump's trying to block this chaos. Little Marco.
Those given the high honor of admission to the United States should support this country and love its people.
Look how
and
psychopathic
its
Paul Ryan looks.
We cannot
really
allow
does.
a
I
beachhead
wouldn't
of
buy a car from him.
to form inside America. We
Did you go to
cannot
his house and
allow
have a hamburger?
No, definitely not. He
Or
looks like a
extremists.
predator.
Did you hire him?
No, he has like envious eyes. I don't know.
He
He's
looks
got like a
creepy, yeah.
glare.
Pence looks like a soldier. Trump looks like a, super salesman, good guy.
Keep our nation
And
safe.
then Ryan looks like a weasel.
Those out
Yeah, you can
who will
see.
do us harm.
Keep out those will do us harm. Now, imagine having a country, like Lindbeck said. It's so scary to have a nation. So on CNN, we can't have that.
I directed the Department of Defense to develop a plan to demolish and destroy ISIS, a network of lawless savages that have slaughtered Muslims and Christians and men and women and children of all faiths and all beliefs. We will work with our allies, including our friends and allies in the Muslim world, to extinguish this vile enemy from our planet.
Extinguish this violent enemy from our planet.
That's right. That's what they are. I mean, there's a lot of videos out there that are just absolutely gruesome of the horrible things that these ISIS militants are doing in the Muslim countries. We shouldn't be considering having, people immigrate from that area right now while we have that.
Without even having real IDs,
sanctions on entities and individuals who support Iran's ballistic missile program and reaffirmed our unbreakable alliance with the state of Israel.
The left is so freaked out because they wanted to sell out to Saudi Arabia in like an alliance with the Wahhabis. I mean, Israel's got issues, but they're not the Wahhabis that cut women's genitals off and let them drive cars. It's like, why is the left so in love with Islam? They got bought off.
I have kept my promise to appoint a justice to the United States Supreme Court from my list of 20 judges who will defend our Constitution.
That's right.
And that's what they were supposed to be doing all along. I mean, these people took oaths to the Constitution.
Exactly. They act like this is so alien. This is Americana. Live coverage of Trump's first speech to Congress.
I am greatly honored to have Maureen Scalia with us in the gallery tonight.
That's Justice Scalia's wife.
Antonin Scalia got murdered in South Texas. They put in the Washington Post as a big joke. Secret society. They killed more than a dozen Russians the last few months, too.
And didn't Obama try to fill that seat, too, before he got out of office?
Exactly.
Her late great husband, Antonin Scalia, will forever be a symbol of American justice. To fill his seat, we have chosen Judge Neil Gorsuch, a man of incredible skill and deep devotion to the law. He was confirmed unanimously by the Court of Appeals, and I am asking the Senate to swiftly approve his nomination.
And he was an acolyte and good friend of Scalia. He was a strict constructionist. So if you believe in America, that's the kind of judge you should do. So another promise fulfilled by President Trump. Again, this is Infowars.com, live coverage.
Tonight, as I outline the next steps we must take as a country, we must honestly acknowledge the circumstances we inherited. 94 million Americans are out of the labor force. Over 43 million people are now living in poverty, and over 43 million Americans are on food stamps. More than 1 in 5 people in their prime working years are not working. We have the worst financial recovery in 65 years. In the last 8 years, the past administration has put on more new debt
but Conway put her feet on the couch.
The other presidents combined.
And he wasn't lying when he said he inherited a mess. I mean, this is a big mess, these numbers.
And we've lost 60,000 factories since China joined the World Trade Organization.
But Conway put her feet on the couch at the White House. That's what matters. Not that China sold us out. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Last year was nearly $800 billion. And overseas, we have inherited a series of tragic foreign policy disasters.
The trade deficit shrunk by $14 billion since you got in.
So many other pressing problems will require us to work past the differences of party. It will require us to tap into the American spirit that has overcome every challenge throughout our long and storied history. But to accomplish our goals at home and abroad, we must restart the engine of the American economy, making it easier for companies to do business in the United States and much, much harder for companies to leave our country.
Right. We must restart the engine of the American economy. American business is being crushed under an avalanche of taxes and regulations. Let's make it easier for companies to do business in America. So they made it hard under globalism. It's on purpose. It's not
right now,
hard to
American
fix.
companies are taxed at one of the highest rates anywhere in the world. My economic team is developing historic tax reform that will reduce the tax rate on our companies so they can compete and thrive anywhere and with anyone.
And they've worked really hard to try and crush the American economy and the jobs. I mean, it's really hard to do. America's so strong.
Big cut. At the same time, we will provide massive tax relief for the middle class. We must create a level playing field for American companies, and our workers have to be.
Here comes the historic tax reform.
Currently, when we ship products out of America, many other countries make us pay very high tariffs and taxes. But when foreign companies ship their products into America, we charge them nothing or almost nothing. I just met with officials and workers from a great American company, Harley-Davidson. In fact, they proudly displayed 5 of their magnificent motorcycles made in the USA on the front lawn of the White House.
Maybe Google Trump meets with Harley-Davidson. We can show that. Show folks some stuff as well as we do live coverage.
And they wanted me to ride one, and I said, no, thank you.
I'm the same way. Motorcycles get you
At
killed.
our meeting, I asked them, how are you doing? How is business? They said that it's good. I asked them further, how are you doing with other countries, mainly international sales? They told me without even complaining, because they have been so mistreated for so long that they've become used to it, that it's very hard to do business with other countries because they tax our goods at such a high rate.
That's right.
They said that in the case of another country,
it's all one-sided.
They tax their motorcycles at 100%. They weren't even asking for a change, but I am. I believe.
We're not settling for nothing now. It's over. The globalists, all the little, turds like Pelosi selling our country out, it's over. If the American people stand up.
He's standing up for the American people and
it's just true. Look,
it's that simple.
The reason we're supporting Trump is it's true. The entire power structure is angry because they've been selling us out. They're pissed. This is real.
I believe strongly in free trade, but it also has to be fair trade.
That's right.
It's been a long time since we had fair trade.
They're all one-sided screw jobs.
The first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, warned that the abandonment of the protective policy by the American government will produce want and ruin among our people. Lincoln was right, and it's time we heeded his advice and his words.
Can you imagine the prosperity our nation will have?
Reagan didn't talk like this. Nobody ever exposed one-sided deals.
Let America and its great companies and workers be taken advantage of us any longer. They have taken advantage of our country. No longer.
We got about 2 core rules: buy America and hire America.
I'm going to bring back millions of jobs. Protecting our workers also means reforming our system of legal immigration.
We must protect our workers by enforcing immigration laws. It's time. We must protect our workers.
The current outdated system depresses wages for our poorest workers and puts great pressure on taxpayers. Nations around the world, like Canada, Australia, and many others, have a merit-based immigration system.
Switzerland.
Yeah, and the left found that out really hard when they thought they were all going to run to Canada.
It's a basic
after Trump won, they wouldn't let them in.
Enter a country ought to be able to support themselves financially. Yet in America, we do not enforce this rule, straining the very public resources that our poorest.
Oh yeah, Trudeau said, "Come on up here." Everybody tried to show up. He turned them back.
National Academy of Sciences. Our current immigration system costs American taxpayers many billions of dollars a year.
Like I said, merit-based.
Switching away from this current system of lower-skilled immigration and instead adopting a merit-based system,
because they're CNN.
We will have so many more benefits. It will save countless dollars, raise workers' wages, and help struggling families, including immigrant families, enter the middle class. And they will do it quickly. And they will be very, very happy indeed.
That's right. Expand the middle class.
That's right.
Raise wages by our economy, not by law, to bring in the people and then bring everybody up.
That's right.
Bring in quality people.
I believe that real and positive immigration reform is possible as long as we focus on the following goals: to improve jobs and wages for Americans, to strengthen our nation's security, and to restore respect for our laws. If we are guided by the well-being of American citizens, then I believe Republicans and Democrats can work together to achieve an outcome that has eluded our country for decades.
Yeah, the cities that implemented the $15 an hour a mandatory minimum wage, their restaurant businesses are going out of business. They're leaving. All the businesses
because they're
competing.
They're competing with illegal workers in the third world population and the third world itself. Absolutely. And then robots just replace them like Wendy's is doing. Here we go.
Another Republican president, Dwight D. Eisenhower, initiated the last truly great national infrastructure program, the building of the interstate highway system. The time has come for a new program of national rebuilding.
That's right. It was a copy of the Autobahn system. That's why these big highways, you can land B-52s on them. In case there's a nuclear war, you can move the weapons around.
Wow.
Not have them hit, And again, people say, well, that's government spending, but that'll create jobs. The globalists don't want jobs. They want consolidation.
America has spent approximately $6 trillion in the Middle East. All the while, our infrastructure at home is crumbling. With this $6 trillion, we could have rebuilt our country twice, and maybe even 3 times if we had people who had the ability to negotiate.
That's right. Nobody negotiates for us. They just do one-sided deals.
To launch our national rebuilding, I will be asking Congress to approve legislation that produces a $1 trillion investment in infrastructure of the United States, financed through both public and private capital, creating millions of new jobs.
With almost $3 trillion in the stock market in 40-something days of him being in, and all these new jobs bills and all these executive orders blocking Obamacare, Pelosi says he has no jobs plan.
Well, there it is, folks. There's a jobs plan right there.
She's just lying. She's just lying. That's what I mean. It's like CNN said, we don't choose sides. We don't promote the Democrats.
This effort will be guided by 2 core principles: buy American and hire American.
Oh, look. We'll be guided by 2 core principles: buy American, hire American. And again, Trump basically wrote these notes.
Calling on this Congress to repeal and replace Obamacare.
Notice the media these are not world media.
They would have already had hit pieces out before his speech.
Oh,
if
they already We got this stuff for anybody yesterday. The basic bull now, they all flipped out about it and said that we said we had an exclusive on all this when only 20-something people got it. It's just funny how they're being cut out of things because they're not real media.
Oh,
CNN has no viewers. They have like 100,000 viewers on average. Why do we kiss their butt?
Reforms that expand choice, increase access, lower costs, and at the same time provide better health care.
Must repeal Obamacare, replacement systems that expand choice, increase access, and lower costs. Americans with pre-existing conditions must have coverage.
Every American to buy government-approved health insurance was never the right solution for our country.
I loved his inaugural address he wrote. That was the best. That was even better than this. This is a powerful speech, though.
The way to make health insurance available to everyone is to lower the cost of health insurance, and that is what we are going to do.
With a national marketplace, getting the hundreds of insurance companies to bid instead of only the top ones running it and controlling it and having 2 times a year you can go enter the market to get insurance. It's designed to create a screw job.
Premiums nationwide have increased by double and triple digits. As an example, Arizona went up 116% last year alone. Governor Matt Bevin of Kentucky just said Obamacare is failing in his state, the state of Kentucky, and it's unsustainable and collapsing.
Well, they admitted it was created to destroy health care.
Yeah, and if they got rid of the Monsanto Protection Act, then we would have a healthier population if we didn't have poison in the food supply.
Well, exactly, but I have Ezekiel Emanuel on Fox News admitting they want to bankrupt health care. Back to the president.
When you were told that you could keep your doctor and keep your plan.
Total lie.
We now know that all of those promises have been totally broken. Obamacare is collapsing, and we must act decisively to protect all Americans.
Yes. Delivering on every promise, 40-something days in. He got in the 20th. How many days is that? Got in January 20th. It's now February 28th. How many days is that? 28 and 10. The public school education. 28 and 10. That's 38 days.
Yep.
I'm saying 40-something, 38.
It is a necessity.
38 days.
So I am calling on all Democrats and Republicans in Congress to work with us to save Americans from this imploding Obamacare disaster.
But it was designed to wreck everything. But see, we're taking it back from them. Again, you want to fight the New World Order? This is happening.
Congress as we move to create a better health care system for all Americans. First, we should ensure that Americans with pre-existing conditions have access to coverage and that we have a stable transition for Americans currently enrolled in the health care exchanges.
Yes. Americans' pre-existing conditions must have coverage and must smooth the transition for Americans currently in the exchanges. It's all very reasonable, very nice. They'll all claim lies in the media, say he's doing all these bad things.
Secondly, we should help Americans purchase their own coverage through the use of tax credits and expanded health savings accounts. But it must be the plan they want, not the plan forced on them by our government.
Wow, do you hear some booing? I mean, we have half sitting down.
Yeah, they're booing. You got to take care of poor people. We got to give them a choice. Boo! And the Democrats are just a bunch
we should give our state governors the resources and flexibility they need with Medicaid to make sure no one is left out.
That's right here. No one slips through the cracks was the original line.
Fourth, we should implement legal reforms that protect patients and doctors from unnecessary costs that drive up the price of insurance and work to bring down the artificially high price of drugs and bring them down immedately.
Here's the last point. We must eliminate the burdensome approval process.
We saw that with the EpiPens.
Drugs.
You know how they hiked up the price on the EpiPens? I mean, they're doing things. These are drugs that people need.
Everything he's doing.
And finally, the time has come to give Americans the freedom to purchase health insurance across state lines.
That's right, open markets. That's right here. National marketplace.
Which will create a truly competitive national marketplace.
There you go. Look at that. Wow.
And provide far better care. So important.
This Washington Post didn't get this.
Everything that is broken in our country can be fixed. Every problem can be solved. And every hurting family can find healing and hope. Our citizens deserve this, and so much more. So why not join forces and finally get the job done and get it done
Look
right?
at Democrats. Hey, let's come together. Let's stop screwing everybody one side of the deals. Be Americans again.
Yeah.
You'll be loved by your people, Democrats and Republican establishment. Stop it.
Yeah, be mature.
Ding, ding, bong, ding, ding, ding.
Be mature. Come together for a cause. I mean,
ding, ding,
help
ding,
the American people. Bing, bing, bong, bing, bing. Bing, 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 bong, bing.
There you go.
On this and so many other things, Democrats and Republicans should get together and unite for the good of our country and for the good of the American people.
See, he's pointing at him and I say, it's unite. It's all common sense.
Yeah.
How can anybody be against this? This is...
My administration wants to work with members of both parties to make child care accessible and affordable, to help ensure new parents that they have paid family leave.
So what you talked about, and be able to write off your child care.
Exactly. And that would probably help young families.
Well, Golden Toad wants to do that. Here we go. Be the great toad.
You know, people aren't wanting to have children as much these days because of that.
And to promote clean air and clean water and to rebuild our military and our infrastructure.
Our disadvantaged youth, including millions of African American human children, who have access to good schools and great teachers.
True love for our people requires us to find common ground, to advance the common good, and to cooperate on behalf of every American child who deserves a much brighter future. An incredible young woman is with us this evening who should serve as an inspiration to us all. Today is Rare Disease Day, and joining us in the gallery is a rare disease survivor, Megan Crowley. Megan
some neurological disorders, poor lady.
Yeah.
Megan was diagnosed with Pompe disease, a rare and serious illness, when she was 15 months old. She was not expected to live past 5.
Oh, God.
On receiving this news, Megan's dad, John, fought with everything he had to save the life of his precious child. He founded a company to look for a cure and helped develop the drug that saved Megan's life. Today, she is 20 years old and a sophomore at Notre Dame.
I don't know how people find fault with Trump. I just don't.
I don't either.
About the unbounded power of a father's love for a daughter. But our slow and burdensome approval process at the Food and Drug Administration keeps too many advances, like the one that saved Megan's life, from reaching those in need. If we slash the restraints, not just at the FDA, but across our government, then we will be blessed with far more miracles, just like Megan.
Absolutely.
In fact, our children will grow up in a nation of miracles. But to achieve this future, we must enrich the mind and the souls of every American.
That's right. Talking about advanced technology,
Education
technological
is the
development,
civil
life
rights
extension,
issue of our time.
unlock the secrets of disease.
You know, and they tried to say that he was against people with disabilities or making fun of that reporter with a disability. He's going to do more for people with disabilities than any other president.
That funds school choice for disadvantaged youth, including millions of African American and Latino children.
Disadvantaged youth, including millions of African American and Latino children. Trump again wrote his own speech.
These families should be free to choose the public, private, charter, magnet, religious, or homeschool that is right for them. Joining us tonight in the gallery is a remarkable woman, Denisha Merriweather. As a young girl, Denisha struggled in school and failed third grade twice. But then she was able to enroll in a private center for learning, great learning center, with the help of a tax credit and a scholarship program.
I failed as a sophomore.
Today, she is the first in her family to graduate not just from high school, but from college.
I was in high school 5 years.
Later this year, she will get her master's degree in social work. We want all children to be able to break the cycle of poverty, just like Denisha.
Yeah, a lot of times when children are failing in school, it's because the school is failing them, and people should be able to choose and let students choose which school they want to go to.
That's right. The speech is almost over, folks. We'll have live coverage. We'll give the toll-free number out. In fact, I should give the number out in a moment.
But to break the cycle of poverty, we must also break the cycle of violence.
Here we go.
The murder rate in 2015 experienced its largest single-year increase in nearly half a century. In Chicago, more than 4,000 people were shot last year alone, and the murder rate so far this year has been even higher. This is not acceptable in our society.
It's all Democrat-run cities. Republican establishment's horrible, too, but the Democrats are a special type of trash. They've been the power structure forever. We never have a Republican president until Lincoln.
Every child should be able to grow up in a safe community, to attend a great school, and to have access to a high-paying job.
That's the 1860s. And the Democrats claim the Republicans are the KKK. Like they said, the NRA is the KKK.
We must work with, not against. Not against.
It's founded to counter
the
the KKK.
men and women of law enforcement.
And it's not that the police state is perfect or all cops are perfect. It's that Soros and others want to make any rebellion against corrupt government about the cops.
Yeah.
It's like if you're against the TSA, what they're doing, get Congress to change it. Don't blame the average cop.
Yeah, you know, the average cop is just trying to keep the community safe and do their job to protect people.
Yeah, exactly. They have a crappy job.
Not drive the wedge of disunity and really it's what it is, division.
That's
it's pure, unadulterated division. We have to unify. Police and sheriffs are members of our community. They're friends and neighbors. They're mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, and they leave behind loved ones every day who worry about whether or not they'll come home safe and sound. We must support the incredible men and women of law enforcement.
We need peace officers, and I've been a big critic of problems with the police, but not because I'm enemies with the police. I don't like them being turned into these government enforcers for unconstitutional actions. But if we restore the republic, then the police, again, are good, just like government is.
We must support the victims of crime. I have ordered the Department of Homeland Security to create an office to serve American victims. The office is called VOICE, Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement.
That's right, give a voice.
We are providing a voice to those who have been ignored by our media and silenced by special interests. Joining us
So this draft probably from a week ago, more's been added.
In the audience tonight are four very brave Americans whose government failed them. Their names are Jamil Shaw, Susan Oliver, Jenna Oliver, and Jessica Davis.
He's humanizing people.
Jamil's 17-year-old son was viciously murdered by an illegal immigrant gang member who had just been released from prison. Jamil Shaw Jr. was an incredible young man with unlimited potential who was getting ready to go to college, where he would have excelled as a great college quarterback. But he never got the chance. His father, who is in the audience tonight, has become a very good friend of mine. Jamil, thank you. Thank you.
I could never imagine that, you know, to lose a child. That's so heartbreaking.
Well, here's the deal. Latin America and other countries just dump their criminals on us. And then they can't, no one has a database of who they are, so they get released.
And they just
over
keep
and over
coming
again.
back in over and
Yes,
over.
it'd be like, it's not that Latin America's bad. It's just that if our criminals were like that, it'd be bad, you know?
Yeah.
Deputy Sheriff Danny Oliver and Detective Michael Davis were slain in the line of duty in California. They were pillars of their community. These brave men were viciously gunned down by an illegal immigrant with a criminal record and 2 prior deportations, should have never been in our country. Sitting with Susan is her daughter, Jenna. Jenna, I want you to know that your father was a hero and that tonight you have the love of an entire country supporting you
Trump
and
hasn't
praying
messed up
for you.
once. I'm not trying to kiss his ass. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's great. It's because he's speaking from the heart.
He's a machine.
And this is what happens when we have an open, unsecure border. We can deport them all day, folks, but they're just going to keep coming back in, committing crimes. And that's what he's
Like the guy,
pointing
those
out.
serial killers, like 20 people.
Jenna, Susan, and Jessica, I want you to know that we will never stop fighting for justice. Your loved ones will never, ever be forgotten. We will always honor their memory.
I urge you to get into breaking the silence. Something about NATO and our strategic partners.
Finally, to keep America safe, we must provide the men and women of the United States military with the tools they need to prevent war. If they must, they have to fight, and they only have to win.
Looking abroad, America First policy calls for robust engagement with the world in areas of mutual interest, but not ceding our authority to the UN and globalist bodies where they're our bosses. And Obama goes to Congress and says, I don't need you, I have the UN. Trump had always better go to Congress for his authority.
Congress, a budget that rebuilds the military, eliminates the defense sequester,
So now McCain stands up. Just get rid of that
and
traitor.
calls for one of the largest increases in national defense spending in American history. My budget will also increase funding for our veterans. Our veterans have delivered for this nation, and now we must deliver for them.
Under leftist policies, they've been deliberately targeted, their funding cut, their health care cut.
Exactly.
Try to give them mentally ill designations so they can strip their rights. That BS ends now.
Yes, that's right. You shouldn't.
And it's already begun. The VA, I've seen the numbers, it's already getting better. It's
The
only been in
challenges
39
we
days.
face as a nation are great, but our people are even greater. And none are greater or braver than those who fight for America in uniform. We are blessed to be joined tonight by Corinne Owens, the widow of U.S. Navy Special Operator, Senior Chief William Ryan Owens. Ryan died as he lived, a warrior and a hero, battling against terrorism and securing our nation. I just spoke to our great General Mattis just now, who reconfirmed that, and I quote, Ryan was a part of a highly successful raid that generated large amounts of vital intelligence that will lead to many more victories in the future against our enemy. Ryan's legacy is etched into eternity. Thank you. Thank you.
This is powerful. Man, Trump just gets better and better. I'm sorry.
Very powerful.
I'm sorry. This is just getting too good to be true. After Obama and Clinton and Bush, I mean, you know, it shows there's not just evil in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And just everything he's delivering on. And I love how he doesn't give his talking points to the MSM. He gives it to the Patriot media. Of course, he got us this little tidbit today that's been right on.
That's right. For every fallen soldier, there's a weeping mother, a weeping widower.
That's powerful. Let's go back. Exactly. Let's go back to her. And then Dr. Corsi is joining us here in just a minute when the speech ends with the rest of the crew. Yep.
And Ryan is looking down right now.
This is powerful.
You know that. And he's very happy because I think he just broke a record.
Wow, that's powerful. Because Trump is so genuine, though. It's not the fakeness of Obama.
Exactly.
The Bible teaches us there is no greater act of love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. Ryan laid down his life for his friends, for his country, and for our freedom. And we will never forget Ryan.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ryan.
Powerful.
Thank you, Ryan. And thank you, Ryan.
Obama would never do something like that. God, think about 8 years of Obama. What a nightmare. Powerful.
To those allies who wonder what kind of a friend America will be, look no further than the heroes who wear our uniform. Our foreign policy calls for a direct, robust, and meaningful engagement with the world. It is American leadership based on vital security interests that we share with our allies all across the globe. We strongly support NATO, an alliance forged through the bonds of 2 world wars that dethroned fascism and the Cold War and defeated communism.
But Europe's going to pay part of it. It's called, like, we're done going bankrupt here, not having, you know, trains that work and roads falling apart.
Exactly. We need fair deals.
Yeah.
But our partners must meet their financial obligations. And now, based on our very strong and frank discussions, they are beginning to do just that.
Yeah,
in fact,
finally
I
a
can tell
president.
you the money is pouring in.
The money's
Very
pouring in. It's happening.
And it was that easy to just have somebody who's business-minded to come in and make good deals.
And not screw us over. Yeah.
Exactly.
We expect our partners, whether in NATO, the Middle East, or in the Pacific, to take a direct and meaningful role in both strategic and military operations and pay their fair share of the cost, have to do that. We will respect historic institutions, but we will respect the foreign rights of all nations, and they have to respect our rights as a nation also. Free nations are the best vehicle for expressing the will of the people.
That's
and
right.
America respects the right of all nations to chart their own path.
It's happening in France.
My job is not to represent the world. My job is to represent the United States of America.
That's
right. An American president, an American Congress, and then countries competing, not elites meeting and selling out each other's interests to decide who gets to run the global order and play God like Zuckerberg and Schmidt and all these jerks.
But we know that America is better off when there is less conflict, not more. We must learn from the mistakes of the past. We have seen the war and the destruction that have ravaged and raged throughout the world, all across the world. The only long-term solution for these humanitarian disasters, in many cases, is to create the conditions where displaced persons can safely return home and begin the long, long process of rebuilding. America is willing to find new friends and to forge new partnerships where shared interests align. We want harmony and stability, not war and conflict. We want peace wherever peace can be found.
Right here, mutual interest.
America is friends today with former enemies.
It sounds like George
Some
Washington
of our
wrote this.
closest allies decades ago fought on the opposite side of these terrible, terrible wars. This history should give us all faith in the possibilities for a better world. Hopefully, the 250th year for America will see a world that is more peaceful, more just, and more free.
That's like 8 years out.
On our 100th anniversary in 1876, citizens from across our nation came to Philadelphia to celebrate America's centennial. At that celebration, the country's builders and artists and inventors showed off their wonderful creations. Alexander Graham Bell displayed his telephone for the first time. Remington unveiled the first typewriter. An early attempt was made at electric light. Thomas Edison showed an automatic telegraph and an electric pen. Imagine the wonders our country could know in America's 250th year.
That's right. There's a lot of advanced technology that they've held up as conflicting technology, as disruptive technology, and Trump, the word is ready to release it.
We can achieve if we simply set free the dreams of our people.
The museum of
Cures
things that
to
will
the
never be
illnesses
will
that
now
have
be.
always plagued us are not too much to hope. American footprints on distant worlds are not too big a dream. Millions lifted from welfare to work is not too much to expect. And streets where mothers are safe from fear, schools where children learn in peace, and jobs where Americans prosper and grow are not too much to ask.
Amazing. He's about to end. He started about 6 minutes late. We're 9:06 Central, 10:06 Eastern. We have Dr. Jerome Corsi, Roger Stone, Leanne McAdoo, Owen Schroyer, Millie Weaver. I'm Alan Sims, your host. We're about to go to Dr. Corsi.
When we have all of this, we will have made America greater than ever before. For all Americans, this is our vision. This is our mission. But we can only get there together. We are one people with one destiny. We all bleed the same blood.
This is key.
We all salute the same great American flag.
Unity.
And we all are made by the same God.
Absolutely.
Unite under patriotism. He was not kidding when he said he was going to actually make America great again, and he's showing us he's going to do it.
The globalists have demoralized us. They've broken us up. They've done it all. All right, I think he's done here. While we talk to Dr. Corsi and then Roger Stone for a few minutes, then go to our other panel.
When we fulfill this vision, when we celebrate our 250 years of glorious freedom, we will look back on tonight as when this new chapter of American greatness began. The time for small thinking is over.
Beautiful.
The time for trivial fights is behind us.
Look at the Democrats.
We just need the courage to share the dreams that fill our hearts.
Get out of the way.
Bravery to express the hopes that stir our souls, and the confidence to turn those hopes and those dreams into action. From now on, America will be empowered by our aspirations, not burdened by our fears. inspired by the future, not bound by failures of the past, and guided by a vision, not blinded by our doubts. I am asking all citizens to embrace this renewal of the American spirit.
This is true America.
I am asking all members of Congress
Very Christian.
to join me in dreaming big and bold and daring things for our country. I am asking everyone watching tonight to seize this moment, believe in yourselves, believe in your future, and believe once more in America.
That's right.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States.
You notice Hillary would never say that for 20 years. Now she's saying it because she knows he's energizing the people, bringing them together. This is an incredible time to be alive. We're going to do like 5-10 minutes with Corsi and Roger Stone. And we're going to bring in our panel. I'm going to give the number out. They put it up on screen for me. I'll give out our studio line so that I can give that number out for folks as well as we're live. It's 10:10 in the East, 9:10 here Central. Again, 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539, 877-789-2539. Get your quick comment or statement or question. That's all coming up. But while we talk to Dr. Corsi and back and forth with Roger Stone for about 10-15 minutes before we go to our panel, we'll also leave in the background some of this video for folks of Trump. But I got to tell you, my gut told me Trump was real. I talked to Corsi. I've had Corsi on air before. He's got to go when Trump calls him. And he says, no, he's for real. Talked to a lot of other folks, talked to Trump, talked to people that are good friends with Trump, looked into who his whole background was. And it's like, no wonder they're so scared of him, because we truly have an American president.
Exactly. He's the real deal. And all I have to say is to Democrats is have a little faith. Give him a chance before you just decide you're going to hate him and think he's Hitler reincarnate. Give him a chance.
Well, see, they're bought and paid for, Millie. They're bought and paid for by globalists. That's the problem. They know that.
Well, I'm talking to the Democrats out there in America.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm talking to people who are Democrats in nature. And I'm just saying, look at the fruits. Look at what he produces. Look at our economy and jobs. Just look for those signs. And if he's going to produce good fruit, then he's good for our nation.
Absolutely.
And that's the bottom line.
Millie, you're absolutely right. Ride shotgun with us. And Leanne McAdoo coming up as well with Owen Schroyer. Let's go to Dr. Jerome Corsi, and then we're going to go to Roger Stone. Dr. Corsi and of course, Stone, you're on with us as well. Jump in anytime. You're both in a free-for-all here. What is it like? Go back a year ago, 2 years ago, while we're all talking about this, what could happen. He's now president. He's delivering. It's almost surreal, but the enemies of freedom are even more snake-like than ever. Dr. Corsi.
Well, it was an historic speech tonight. I think the tones that Donald Trump struck really reached across America and they are unifying. I mean, it was an emotional speech. The Ryan Owens, I think, was historic, especially given the extent to which his fathers objected to the raid in which his son was killed. There's his wife, clearly emotional, knowing what the sacrifices were for America. And Donald Trump is calling out to America to be our greater selves, to bury these divisions, to restore the country, restore the economy. Of all the states of the union I've heard in my life, I think this was the most memorable. I'm truly impressed by it. And yes, Donald Trump is the real deal. I've said that from the very beginning.
You said that 2 years ago. We're going to go back and forth. Roger Stone, what is it like for you? You were almost speechless when I was with you at the inauguration, right there below Trump being sworn in. When you were talking about this in the 1980s, the 1990s, you got Nixon and him together. You don't like to toot your horn, but I've looked in the newspapers. That's a fact. What is it like to see him being the president, but also see him delivering? I don't want to just fawn, but when something is real, I have to call it the bona fide, real McCoy that it is. And then just looking at the speech and other hurdles we've got to face here.
Wow. I mean, I am almost still speechless. Alex, I got to tell you, I had to go back and look. I would have actually been in the chamber for 10 different State of the Union addresses under 3 different presidents. But I've never seen anything like this. I think the president disarmed his critics right off the top by citing Black History Month, talking about these horrific desecrations in Jewish cemeteries, which is a disgrace, a blot, and also pointing out the killing, I guess it was in Kansas, kind of totally knocking his critics back on their heels and giving one of the most unexpected, I would say, State of the Union addresses any president has given in this chamber. He was bold.
People were crying. There was emotion. It was electrical.
Well, and he was a Reagan-style optimist. You saw the best of Donald Trump tonight. I'd also point out that he walked in a perfectly tailored suit. Every hair was in place. He had a deep tan. I heard one liberal pundit call it a presidential makeover. You saw the quintessential.
Sure, I mean, let's just say this. We're not gay, but Trump looks the best he's ever looked here.
Well, and I had heard, Trump was always a man who had his suits made by Brioni. They would come measure him, but they would be made in Italy. I now hear that he is wearing American and that the Hardwick company, a South Carolina American company, is going to be making clothing for him. So he is at the top of his game. His economic argument, particularly, I thought, was compelling. And then he used the citizens in the audience gambit, which only Ronald Reagan did well, in a very effective and I think moving manner, talking to the various real people who have had adversity in their life and using it to illustrate whether it was a need to streamline FDA drug approvals or whether it was service to one's country.
Sure, so, wasn't this a unifying, populist speech about prosperity, shared vision, destiny, incredibly wholesome and good? And they kept showing shots of the Democrats looking like they were constipated, sitting on toilets. I mean, what a group of losers. I mean, and I'm not even a Democrat or Republican, but this is a really nasty group. He kept looking at them saying, let's have this destiny together. Let's come together. I want you to talk about that, Roger, in a moment. But let's go back to Dr. Corsi to speak to that. I mean, I want the Democrats to come in out of the dark to try to actually fix things, but it seems like they're just unified in trying to derail things.
Well, the speech was extremely well-crafted in that Donald Trump took the high road. This was a positive speech, a bright speech, a speech about what we can accomplish. He reached out to Democrats. He said, let's work together. I mean, the hate agenda is now clearly on the Democrats in their white suits, sitting down, not even applauding, except for a few lines in which Donald Trump reached out to law enforcement. Otherwise, the Democrats acted as if they were at a funeral. And here you've got the President of the United States speaking to America saying, we're yet to be the great country we can be. And we can unite, we can solve these problems. This was a bright speech. It was a speech of hope. It was a speech of
He said, we're turning America around the next 8 years, and we really can do it.
And he made you feel emotionally involved in a way that I think is extremely rare. Usually State of the Union speeches are boring. By 2/3 of the way through, you're ready to go to sleep. This speech had an emotional content to it, which held you on the edge of your seat. And you began to see America at our highest point. As Donald Trump is saying the same thing Ronald Reagan said, and that is our greatest days as a nation are ahead of us. We have yet the moral courage to advance this country.
And we thought it was over in the 1970s. So expanding on that then, what is the establishment, the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgans, the globalists, what do they do now as Trump just gets stronger, better, faster, wittier every day? I mean, it's getting and keeps delivering. What are they going to do at this dizzying pace?
Well, you're going to see them go into a complete, catharsis of upset. They're going to do more violent protests. They're going to be more disruptive. They're going to have more bizarre agendas because they're losing. And the Democratic Party right now is being led by Tom Perez, who is a La Raza, grew up in La Raza, which is really a return to the Southwest of Mexico. And his deputy DNC chair is a Muslim Brotherhood.
So they're going pure ethnic radical politics.
Exactly. It's identity politics to the extreme hard left. And here you've got Donald Trump saying to America, we can unite, we can advance. I'm reaching out to families. I'm expressing my love for those who have given their all for the United States of America.
And invoking Christ. And those that lay down their absolutely. We're going to come back to you in a moment, then let you guys get some well-deserved rest this evening there on the East Coast. So one more time, back with you, Doc, in a minute. Dr. Jerome Corsi. Roger Stone, you just heard my question to Corsi. Again, I want to be a pessimist. I want to sit here and be able to criticize people. But Trump's so good on so many fronts, despite who he surrounds himself with, you know, Priebus and Paul Ryan and folks, that it's almost surreal, like maybe this is a computer simulation or something, because their whole globalist program is going down in flames. Nationalism's expanding worldwide. Prosperity's coming with it. Globalists threaten countries financially, but it doesn't work. I mean, what is going on?
Look, this is the Donald Trump that I know and love. He has always stepped up to the big league pitching. He is one of the most effective communicators since Ronald Reagan. It is not incidental that Reagan trained as an actor. And of course, Donald became a more polished public speaker in 15 seasons in The Apprentice. But beyond that, he was bold, he was factual, he was specific. And above all, Alex, he didn't back off anything he ran on. He made it very clear where he was headed.
And by the way, I've never, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been involved in 8, 9 campaigns, me like 4 or 5. I've never seen somebody deliver in 4 years like he's done, and just so pig-headedly doing it and winning. This is crazy.
Well, I think he's an enormously talented, and he's a very stubborn individual when he sets his mind on a goal. He is going to revive this country. I think that is why we elected him. I'd have to not disagree with Dr. Corsi, but suggest that as well as more agitprop and violence and intolerance and hate churned up by the David Brocks and the radical element in the Democratic Party, you're going to see 2 other things here, I think, happen. One, the globalists who are inside the fort will intensify their efforts to water down or slow down or thwart pure Trumpism. This is my greatest concern. I've said here several times on InfoWars that I don't think the president's problem is liberal Democrats. We know where they are. His problem is going to be the establishment Republicans who, very sadly, like the status quo. So that is, I think, has to be watched. The intensified search for leaks, in which my sources tell me the press secretary calls in staff members impromptu out of the blue and says, put your phone on the table. Our lawyers here from the counsel's office, we're going to look through it and see if you are the leaker. You would not have that problem if you hired people who were loyal to Donald J. Trump and not the Republican. And
you said that months ago, and you don't even want a job. I know you've been basically, the fact is that they're bringing in Republican establishment people that can't help it. And, you sit and you look at, like, the guy looks like Eddie Munster's psychopath, Paul Ryan. We know what he stands for. He sounds great, but when he actually does things, it's super bad. So I want to get a closing comment for you. I get one from Dr. Corsi. Overall, I'm feeling pretty darn good that we put our money on Donald Trump right now. And, of course, your book is available, The Making of the President 2016, the definitive book, at InfoWarsStore.com. We've been doing this for over an hour and a half live with a huge crew here at night. Hope folks support us and get that book. We also have the new viral T-shirt, Trump-Pence 2016, well, now 2020, Trump-Pence 2020 shirt on a dark navy blue, red, white, and blue. And then it says, Keeping America Great on the front, on the back. America First in 1776, Infowars.com. That new shirt is available at InfoWarsStore.com. Just came out yesterday. But getting back to you, Roger, other concerns, other things you're focused on.
Well, I did like at the very end of the speech, if you noticed, the president said, put aside petty fights, and he pointed to the Democratic leader.
He did it like 3 times.
So our man can still jab when he needs to. Very effective, not over the top, not mean-spirited. But I think he made his point, was very, very effective. Another major plus, Mike Pence's hair. Guy has great hair. I don't know, just for some reason I think that.
It looks like yours.
And I must say that, I mean, he's batting 1,000. This is really set.
Exactly. I don't want to sound like a groveler, like they had all these magazines last week say I'm a bootlicker. Well, if a bootlick for jobs for poor people and cutting taxes and restoring the republic and kicking jihadis out and bringing God back into things and promoting, mom and apple pie, damn right I'll lick those boots.
And it's important that he's draining the swamp.
And he acted against type. You see, when he comes right out of the front and talks about Black History Month, talks about this desecration in the Jewish cemeteries, talks about the killing in Kansas, all of which are the right things to say. He disarms them and just knocks them back on their keister. And then he gives what I think may be the single greatest State of the Union I have ever heard. And I think I've heard 40 of them in a lifetime of political interest.
Amazing. All right. StoneColdTruth.com. We'll talk to you soon, Roger. Getting your book available, InfoWarsStore.com. If people haven't gotten the book, get it today. Thank you, Roger.
Great to be here, Alex. Many thanks.
All right, you've been holding nicely. Thanks for coming on tonight, Dr. Corsi. You got 5 minutes to cover whatever you want, my friend, and let you get back to your important writing and your family.
Well, I think that Roger's exactly right. I mean, first of all, the consideration within the Republican Party, yes, Paul Ryan's up there tonight speaking, looking polite and all the rest. I've known Donald Trump for 40 years. I mean, Donald Trump is a very, very highly intelligent manager. And don't be surprised if in the next few weeks you see major shakeups within the White House in terms of people leaving, including possibility of Priebus being reassigned somewhere else. I mean, Donald Trump is going to have his people ultimately. He's aware that the State Department's opposed to him. He's recommending dramatic cuts in the State Department. He's going to do the same. By the way, it's going to happen very quickly with the CIA and the intelligence agencies. And all the Republicans who are sitting comfortably and applauding tonight have better realized that Donald Trump is a very effective politician. And he's going to get his agenda done. The idea that they can wait until August to do any reform of Obamacare or any tax cuts, I think it's not beyond Donald Trump to bring Paul Ryan into his office and say, if you can't get it done, I know somebody who can. And Donald Trump replaced 3 times his management in the campaign. And
that's key. The media acts like that's a loser thing. No. Even in the third world, if the head of their FAA lets a plane crash into a mountain, they're fired. Here they get promoted. You're supposed to move people around so you get it right. That's a sign of success, not loser.
And Donald Trump's a very effective CEO. Don't ever forget he's run a major multi-billion-dollar organization. I've known many of the people who work for Donald Trump, and I've seen them come and go. The ones who stay are good and they're loyal. The ones who go needed to be replaced. And Donald Trump will do it again. This is a salvo across the bow of the Republican Party. If you don't deliver my agenda, then I'll find a group that does. Because remember...
That's right. We can lead the Tea Party movement that took over the Republicans so far to remove everybody if we have to and absolutely get this in line. Because it won't be like he doesn't get the agenda completely done, then we blame him. If he's honest and has a discussion, we'll remove Democrats and Republicans and put people in that will restore the Republic.
Well, that's the whole point. It's the whole InfoWar audience. It was not the GOP sitting there or standing and applauding today who elected Donald Trump. Ryan and the others opposed Donald Trump, but they're still opposing Donald Trump. Now, very skillfully, President Trump said tonight, we're going to go ahead with this agenda. And I'm addressing America. I'm addressing the InfoWars audience directly. And you're with me, and we're going to reform and change America to be the great country we can be. And if this GOP or these Democrats don't see the light and want to go along, we're going to go ahead forward without them.
Absolutely. This is everything we've asked for. And if we're so cynical we don't see it, we don't deserve it. I mean, Bush, easy to talk bad about. You wrote books about it. I did. You came on. Clinton, absolutely horrible. Obama, horrible. With this, I mean, it'd be easy to sit here like other talk show hosts and complain about Trump. But every time I go burrow into something, it's some underling he gets rid of that didn't do what they were supposed to. It's actually frightening how researched Trump is, how on target, and how small businesses are spending. They're the engine of the stock market boom. To watch the big banks that are getting rich off this still try to block Trump because they want a monopoly. It's truly sickening to see the elite try to block something that means prosperity for everybody.
And Donald Trump's highly intelligent, very effective. He's a winner. And I've bet on Donald Trump from the very beginning. At the very beginning, I said, he's the real deal. He's going to be president. Now I'm going to say he's going to be one of the greatest presidents to go down in American history. And it won't have that much to do with
That's right. You said that 2 years ago. I said, is Trump for real? And you said, listen, he knows, before you were born, he knew it all. And I went and read all the articles in the New York Times back when they were still a good paper. Roy Cohn, the guy that knew all the secrets about the communists, the New World Order, he was his best buddy for over a decade. Wow, Trump knows it all, like you said.
and he's been preparing his entire adult life to run for president. He's not been telegraphing that, but those of us who have known him knew that he would have to be president given his determination to be the best CEO ever.
Well, even Ronald Reagan said that. It's not a Trump grovel fest, it's the truth. Reagan said when he met him in like 1984, he said, I felt like I was shaking the president's hand, not the other way around. Dr. Corsi, thanks for... Go ahead.
I felt it when I met him 40 years ago. That he was going to be president. He was going to be one of the greatest presidents America's ever had. And I think he's just beginning his ride to destiny.
And as he says, it's an American destiny. It's all shared together if we're part of it. Thank you, Doctor.
My great pleasure. Thank you, Alex.
And again, I'm somebody that's only honest, okay? And it's kind of sickening how I grovel. It's not because Trump calls me sometimes or, you know, calls and says a nice thing about, you know, the family or something. It's nothing about that. It's about, I know the issues, I know what's going on, and I know how the globalists are out to get Trump, and I know the reality. We've got Leanne McAdoo and Orange Troyer about to go to. We're going to all take calls together here in just a moment, probably the next hour or so. I want to thank the crew. Radio crew's been here since 8:30 in the morning. But the TV crew has been here since about 11. We're trying to hire a intermediate crew so that they can augment these special reports and things we do so that our crew doesn't basically kill themselves. But they're awesome. I also want to tell you about specials. We've been here, you know, live for several hours. That's 2.5 hours. And I need to plug some things. We got a special that ends tomorrow. That is dozens of nutraceuticals and other products that are 33 to 25% off, depending on the product. All those specials, you know, where Google banned us from ad roll and being able to advertise on the internet, that really put a big dent in what we're doing. But folks have come through. I want to thank you for the support. We've got a bunch of specials right now, 33% off on colloidal silver, 25% off on Super Mel Vitality. We've got 50% off on Deep Cleanse. When you sign up for the newsletter, we send you a promo code, Infowars.com/newsletter. And, of course, we have Victory Series 1, Presidential Donald J. Trump, Tennessee Arms, 80% lowers for M4s. These are laser scanned with 1776 Reborn, Donald Trump, 45th President, which is the collector's item. They have the brass inserts, the very best lower out there, totally legal, as long as you drill it out, machine it yourself, but check for your local laws. It's drop shipped out of Tennessee. That's at InfoWarsStore.com. As well, we have the new shirt. It's being manufactured here in America as we speak. We have the proofs that Q was showing earlier. That's Trump Pence 2020, Keeping America Great on the back. It says America First in 1776.
That's right. Trigger some SJWs with some awesome Trump gear. I mean, what better way than to show your support for Donald Trump than to wear this around? You know, he needs to see that people are out there supporting him.
That's right. And it's $9.95, so it's close to cost because I want to get a bunch of these out there. The last shirts we did, you know, 90-something thousand of one, 40,000 of another, and all the rallies everywhere. It freaked the media out because they can try to censor cyberspace, but they can't censor something like this. So it's $9.95 at first, then it'll be regular price, and then down the road I may even offer it even lower, maybe even at cost, just to get the, you know, the other shirts out there. But this is how you get back in the face of the intimidators. Now, listen, folks. Again, I'd love to sit there on the fence and just say, oh, well, he's not perfect on this or that, and we'll see what happens, and try to make Democrats happy and other people happy. Listen, I'm telling you, the whole New World Order is trying to plunge the economy right now, and Trump has made thousands of phone calls a week and gotten the jobs back by the hundreds of billions of dollars and trillions in the stock market, and just literally said, we're open for business. We're dominating them. It's incredible to see their whole global system going down. Everything we wanted, the New World Order in trouble, global government in trouble, TPP shot down. This is, we would have rejoiced in the streets if TPP went down. It's like, oh, TPP, oh, you ended those regulations. Oh, you shot down the $5,000 final Obamacare. What you going to do next, asshole? Excuse my French. And it's just like, you know, it's like, this is crazy. And I'm sure he's for real. I know he is. Not just the evidence, but my gut. And so all I'm saying is they're saying killing him on all the major news channels. Nobody's getting in trouble. If you said that about Obama, you'd be arrested in minutes, or Bush. Let me tell you, the whole global system, from the communist Chinese to that pedo, you know, cult leader of the Vatican, they're all against him because, folks, He's somebody that doesn't want to screw you over in your family and realizes America's the engine of power, and he can end up being the superstar, turning America around. Millie, then we're going to go to the other guys.
That's exactly it. You know, he laid out a very strategic plan to drain the swamp. If you notice, he talked about cutting off the cartels. That's so that they can't come and make all this money here selling drugs to then, you know, buy off politicians. He talked about, you know, cutting off the lobbyists so that lobbyists can't buy off
politicians. He actually did it. Nobody's ever done that.
Exactly. So, I mean, these are things that are strategic, folks. This is what's going to allow the swamp to drain and to get all these career politicians out of office.
Right.
They're not going to want to be in office if they can't sell out the American people, because that's what they're there doing. They're getting money from lobbyists.
We got Mike in Northern Ireland. We got Mike in England. Got a bunch of other callers. Devin, Chris, Michael, Alex, Josh, Jared, Kevin, Robert, George, Nicholas. We're going to go to all 12 of these calls. We get our record's like 22,000 or 20. What is it, Wes? 24,000 calls in one show. But I mean, it's a digital phone number. You can call in.
25,000 in one show.
Are you on air? Go ahead.
25,000 in one show.
So you are on air. People can hear you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow.
The rule is I want them to talk on air. I want these great people like CJ and Matt and Daria and Nico and, you know, Allie and everybody to get on air. So that's great. You can hear that. 25,000 in one show. So I want to go to your calls. In fact, you guys can host this as long as you want and take calls. I can stay up here for 10 hours too, but I love taking the calls. But let's get like a 5-10 minute statement from Leanne and Owen Schroyer. I call Josh Owens today, but the names are similar. You guys, what you just witnessed, what you just saw. Because again, I can't help but tell the truth. And so even if it sounds sicky sweet, I'm not a groveler to the establishment. Trump has the whole establishment against him. I'm sorry. I don't find fault with this guy. He's a frickin' superstar against the New World Order. We can decide to be winners, and I'm sorry. I just got to say it. It's sickeningly good. The unification, the freedom, bringing God back. What do you guys make of all this there in Studio B?
Very presidential. President Trump has arrived. He looked great. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I thought he looked like 15, 20 years younger.
He looked the best he's ever. I said it.
He looked great.
I said I'm not some model analyst. The guy looked like 10 years. Like you said, he looked good.
He really did. He looked younger.
Leanne suggested he had surgery, which I defended Donald. I mean,
obviously he couldn't have done that because he hasn't had any downtime. But last night he mentioned that he kind of gave himself a C plus in delivering his message to the American people. I think that he got an A+ tonight in being able to deliver that message clearly. It'll be very interesting to see how the media can even spin any of what he said out of control. My favorite thing that he said tonight was that he is not trying to be the president of the world. He is the president of the United States of America. And to me, that just kind of gave me chills, because stark contrast to President Obama. I mean, President Obama really wanted to be the leader of the New World Order.
Sure, it's parlay America into your global power. Keep going, Leanne.
Well, and I also appreciated he even made the Democrats stand up and applause when he was talking about NATO and how we were able to defeat fascism and communism. And then you kind of saw the Democrats going, wait, we don't, yes, we're glad that we defeated that, even though we're trying to bring that into our own country now. So I thought that was pretty interesting how he mentioned that. And then straight away, you know, saying that we're all created by one God. We all bleed red. And I just think that it's really interesting. Very positive, very uplifting, very powerful. I loved what he said about humanity being able to, humanity's footprints on other planets is not such a far off reality.
Exactly.
I thought
because
that
they
was
already
great.
know. It's exactly. And that's one of someone said, Rowan jumps in. It's that it's a pro-human message. The globalists have decided we're falling. They're merging with machines. They're getting rid of us. All this garbage.
Right.
And, you know, that's the thing, is that the things we're seeing are so epic, but also so within our grasp. Look how far we've come from the wheel and fire and primitive to this today. It's incredible, Leanne.
Right. And they want these globalists that have been so anti-human. Owen and I were kind of talking about this, how it's a known thing. If you want to boost the economy, if you want to create jobs, you rebuild the infrastructure of your country. Why have people in power been allowing our country to just fall to pieces? Because this is how, on a grand scale, they see America as just, we're just throwing you to the side.
The United States had 55% in 1960. Look it up. Of the global GDP, and the elite said they don't deserve this. Freedom created it.
Right.
And they sold patriots on saying we're going to give our wealth away to help the third world. But it wasn't that. It was going to go exploit them, to deindustrialize America for this global system. And now we're rolling that up saying, you know what? We're pulling the carpet out from under you. Great points, Leanne. Owen Schroyer.
Well, the one thing that I feel like I'm recognizing, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, there's just a sense of genuineness. There's a feeling of
a spirit.
Sincerity.
Yeah, there's just a feeling that this guy is real. I feel like he means what he's saying to me. He's not just out here doing lip service. He's not just out
he's been
here
in 40 days and is delivering.
Well, right, and these are the promises that he spoke of for years, more than a year when he was on the campaign. He delivered on across all spectrums.
And it's so alien to see it being delivered.
And quickly, without all the bureaucracy and the pushback. And I loved that he went to Congress, and when he brought up about Harley Davidson, he was saying, they didn't even ask for change, but I'm asking.
I love that was my favorite part. They're so bullied, so enslaved that if they sell a bike in Germany, there's a 100% markup on a $40,000 bike. It's $80,000. So it's like, and they're just like, it's okay, sir, we accept that. He's like, BS. We don't keep their BMWs from coming in. Those are great bikes, by the way. Go ahead, Owen.
Well, the other thing.
What was your favorite part?
You were just talking about how it's so foreign for someone to actually come in and deliver on the things he was saying, which is what Trump is doing. But also just the sense of genuinity when he's speaking. He just feels human. He feels relatable. You feel like this is somebody who's speaking from the heart, speaking from the gut.
He's the opposite of arrogant. But it's a confident genuineness, though.
Right.
And I never had that sense with Bush or Obama. When I go back and I listen to Bush speeches, it just feels like somebody talking at me who has talking points that are part of an agenda. When I'm listening to Obama, it sounds like somebody who's just up there doing lip service, lying the whole time, or just trying to guilt trip me to feeling bad about something that I'd never done. With Trump, it's like, hey, I'm here talking to you.
And I need you.
I'm real. Exactly.
It's because he's speaking truth.
I'm recruiting you.
That's what it is. It's almost like it's a mutual feeling of respect, where I didn't get that feeling from Bush or Obama. I felt that they were standing on a high horse above me. With Trump, I feel like he's actually looking me in the eyes, in my soul, saying, I want to lift you up. I want to make you better.
Right, yeah.
Rather than looking
into the eyes of Congress and special interests.
It is crazy we have to sit here and say this, but we're just reporting the truth. It'd be easy to be a bunch of people out there, oh, whatever, nothing's real, it's a failure. BS.
It's real hope. It's not the false hope that Obama was, peddling to everyone. It's actually real hope, because he's actually saying, I'm going to make these changes that's actually going to help.
Let me ask this question, and I'm going to go to calls in the Millennial. You can just jump in anytime you want. What did you make, though, for people that were listening on radio, you didn't see it, a lot of affiliates are carrying this. What did you make of, they kept cutting the Democrats, half the hall, those completely butthurt, like spoiled rotten brats, that got caught, burning the house down, and they're acting like Trump did something.
Right.
I mean, he was reaching out to them over and over again, like 8 times. Well, and they would not get up off their fat asses. So what'd you make of that?
Alex, actually, the Democrats have changed a lot over the last 50 years. They took their masks off. They're still wearing the white gowns. They just don't have the white masks that they used to wear.
Why were they all wearing white and stuff?
Well, maybe it was a paying homage to their old KKK days. I don't know. I'm just saying they were all wearing white. They just left their masks at home today. So I don't know what was up with that. But it was obviously a protest against Trump. It was all the Democratic women. They wore their white gowns. They left their masks at home. But it was obviously just a protest against Trump.
It was
weird.
It was in memory of women's suffrage. I believe there was an anniversary today.
Oh, like
so they must have forgotten. Oh, right. They forgot that they just vote. They forgot that they just voted in November.
And the Republicans were the ones that gave that to women.
Well, here's the deal. Trump's not perfect, but he's not out to get us. This is an incredible time to be alive. We got like 15 phone callers online here. So Devin, Chris, Michael, Mitchell, Alex, Josh, Jared, Mike, Kevin, Mike, Robert, George, Nicholas. We're going to all of you. Let's go to folks that are holding from Northern Ireland first, then England. Let's talk to Mike in Northern Ireland. I guess it's probably like, what is it, like 4 in the morning there? Your time? What time is it there in Northern Ireland, Mike?
20 to 4, Alex. 20 to 4.
20 to 4.
Well, I hope you're drinking a Guinness for me, my friend.
No, I don't drink.
All right, man. Well, thanks for calling. What's on your mind?
First off, brilliant what you, the team, and your man Trump, Mr. Trump, Sir President Trump is doing. Absolutely brilliant. But it's this. A long time ago, a friend says to me, about 25 years ago, that one day Arnold Schwarzenegger would be president of America. Obviously, I laughed, but he also used to talk about the mark of the beast and all the other stuff. I got into the conspiracy side of things, started to follow the likes of yourself and a few others, and some evangelists, Barry Smith in particular. But he would say that, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger would one day be president. I couldn't understand how he could ever be because he wasn't American. But one day I'm watching Donald Trump's campaign, which I'm fully behind, by the way, he says that he would abolish the law that makes it that you need to be born American to run as president. And I couldn't understand why he would say that.
I wasn't aware he would get rid of the 22nd Amendment, but I don't support that. So I'd have to see that for myself. But
yeah, I couldn't believe to be hearing it. And as soon as I heard it, I looked at the odds on Trump, because it was before he was president, so I looked at the odds, and it was 10 to 1. So I stuck 40 quid on it and won 400 quid. So I'm thinking of that. There's no reason for him to want to do away with that law. And when you think of things, one of the things that stuck in my mind with Barry Smith was there to be a 7-year false peace where the whole world would be at peace. Now, it looks like Donald could pull that off. But is that the 7-year false peace that Barry Smith talked about? So,
well, we don't know, but you know, it's all archetypal things that are repeated over and over again. But I believe the Bible, you know, is the truth. So we'll see what happens. I just know that Trump's challenging the whole global system right now,
and he's doing absolutely brilliant. I love what's happening. I feel really enthused and energized to be alive again.
Sure. All right, I got to jump. God bless you, Mike. You want to comment, Millie or Leanne or Owen? Go ahead.
Well, you know, one of the things that is so different, too, if you talk about the world watching this, so they just watched Donald Trump do his address to Congress. They've been watching Obama speak all these years. It became well known when Obama would do a speech, he would say I or me almost half the time, just talking about himself half the time. I think at least for somebody...
Trump is about you.
Exactly. He's about America. He's about us. He's about we. He's about our movement. He's about empowering America. He's about unity. So for people that are around the world, like that caller that was just calling in from Ireland, you know, that's why he's talking about the renewal of the American spirit. That's why he's talking about the renewal of American leadership. They've been seeing our leader Obama, our quote-unquote leader, I shouldn't even use that phrase, who's been doing these speeches, totally fake, totally canned, talks about himself the whole time, demonizes America the other half of the speech. And so all these people around the world are sitting here scratching their heads like, what has America come to? Who is this?
Globalists started against Trump. That's your biggest sign he's good. Then he delivers on what he's saying. You know he's even better. But it's an example of Americanism. One thing Trump said that was true but wasn't complete was he said, you know, this small thing turned into a rumble and it happened in America. Anti-globalism swept other parts of the world, from Iceland to England to you name it, before Trump. Look what's happening with Le Pen in France now. This is a worldwide awakening, as I've said 1,000 times, to the private, unelected corporate government that's hijacked society and culture. But don't worry, Schwarzenegger is a basket case. I made a film, the fact that he wanted to be president. It's called Martial Law, Rise of the Police State. Don't worry, you know, Schwarzenegger is not going to be president.
And we saw Ted Cruz fail, and he wasn't
he'd have to be the
America.
Ted Cruz, not born in America, presidential candidate.
And he failed. Americans
got to be born in
it.
America, Arnold. Sorry, you can't lift your way into the presidential office.
Plus, he told Rolling Stone, you know, he admired Hitler. That's not a very
well.
Good
that
thing.
might actually, you know, that might actually help. I mean, you know, Hillary Clinton comes out with Lady Gaga in a Nazi uniform, so you know,
that's
we don't know.
Mike in England, in jolly old England, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning to you all. Hi, Millie, Roger, Jerome, Owen, Leanne, and above all, Alex. And I praise God that he's used you, Alex. So I'm not thanking you. I'm thanking the Lord.
Absolutely. Thank God. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, the demon craps, they look like that they were having a problem there. And I hope they had the ambulances lined up outside for them because, like Pelosi, do you see how much distress she looked in?
She looked like a wet dog freezing on a mountaintop. I mean, she looked completely, well, yeah, I'm glad you raised
horrible.
that. They look like a bunch of mental patients.
Right, they are. Right. They actually have dementia.
Like
well, let me ask Mike what he thinks is going on.
I think that's very telling. Pelosi and the guy next to her, how horrified they actually looked. I got a little clap out of Pelosi one time, but it's telling on what's going on in their mind because they're under attack. They're losing their power base. They're losing their income. They're losing they're grasping at straws.
Their control. They like to dominate good people more than anything.
Yeah. So expect something to happen. And, you know, I had a barber. I'm on a military base here in England. She was from Ukraine. And a couple of years ago, I said, "Oh, sorry to hear about, you know, the riots and all that over in Kiev." And she said, you know, they're paying them 50 euros a day to go out there in a riot because it was cold out there and all that. And you know that they had a false flag out there where they got snipers to shoot to both sides of the crowd.
Sure, it came out that NATO funded shooting the police back and forth to overthrow the government.
Yeah, and so we're going to have another Kent State situation, you know, because when
you know, I agree with you. We should all be asking, the globalists have been defeated so far. They never give up. How are they going to counterstrike? What are they going to pull? You have dozens of top Russian officials murdered, killed last month.
Exactly.
Bill Gates, Alex.
How timely would it be for them to stage a false flag terrorist attack that they could then use to control the situation?
That's right. Let's talk about
Donald Trump is incompetent, to point out, oh, he's incompetent. He missed it, you know?
That's right. How's the empire going to strike back? Mike in England, great point. Leanne, Owen, your comments.
Well, I would just like to say real quick, he mentioned the quick clap. Pelosi gave one clap tonight for Trump. Actually, the camera zoomed in on her when she gave that clap.
Can we find video of her? She looks completely insane.
Actually, if you can find that video, I actually read her lips while she was clapping. She turned to the person to her right and said, "Where am I?" So I'm not sure if that was actually a clap for Trump.
Yeah.
But, Alex, look, you know, everybody sees what's going on. You've been talking about this for the longest time. The shadow corporate government that nobody wants to talk about. They ignore in the media because they're part of it, and they ignore in our government because they're paid off by it.
But it doesn't work anymore. They're ignoring us. Everybody just leaves them.
So, okay, so what are they going to do? Because they can't just lose their empire. They're not just going to let their slaves go free without a fight. We know this.
Just like they kind of let you think you're leaving, but then like...
Right.
Like
like you talk
about the Dead Sea or the Red Sea. Here comes Pharaoh with his chariots and his army.
Like you talk, humanity getting a breath of fresh air is kind of how you have painted the analogy. I just feel like at this point, I'm worried about when Bill Gates comes out and says stuff about huge viruses killing tens of millions of people, talking about population control, trying to get numbers down to zero.
Yeah, genetically modified.
So you really want to get down to it. You want to talk about how are they going to fight back, Alex? I think that's their next thing because they don't have the people in the government anymore, in the military, to drop these bombs, to enforce martial law.
Intelligence agencies.
They can't win politically.
All they've got is bioweapons. Yep. You just said it. And Gates says it's imminent. Leanne, jump in. We had a special report. They're saying give in to world government, let Chelsea run it. Look at Pelosi, or bioweapons are going to kill you. You know what? I'll say this now. Bunch of bioweapons kill people in our families. It's time for people that shot their mouths off about this to be held accountable. Because we know who's responsible if they've been given the cure or whatever, don't we? Go ahead. As if these assholes think they're, think they're above the law of nature. Go ahead, Leanne.
Oh, God, please take Nancy Pelosi off the loop. The only thing that lady is good at is raising money for the Democratic Party. That's the only reason why she's still there and is given this platform.
She's another arrogant,
lick her lips like that.
Borderline personality disorder tart.
Well, it's really interesting. I know you mentioned this earlier with Roger Stone, but this whole idea of are we living in the Matrix? Are we living in the simulation? That was actually something that was put out there today by the New Yorker. They were saying the Oscars was proof that we might actually be living in the simulation.
Yeah, I read that. What was their point? I read
the point is that with the Trump and Brexit and all of these things where everyone in the establishment is expecting.
They don't want to believe they're failing, so it must be the Matrix.
They don't understand the Matrix.
They don't understand an equal and opposite reaction. They don't understand that. All that black magic that you're trying to send out over the people, guess what? The good magic is coming back, okay?
Exactly.
That's why you're failing.
It's more powerful.
The only ones that are living in a simulated reality, a.k.a. La La Land, is Hollywood.
Did you exactly, Millie, how they did La La Land for Moonlight?
Right?
La La Land is how they make the mistake. Maybe it is a simulation.
These people literally get high off of their own crap.
Well, rather than actually do a little self-reflection.
They are. They're literally sniffing. They're literally huffing their own crap, Alex.
Yeah. Well, rather than do a little bit of self-reflection and possibly, you know, move ahead here, they're pointing the finger,
Pelosi said
blaming
they've done
everyone
nothing
else.
wrong. Leanne, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They're pointing the finger, blaming everyone else for what they themselves are guilty of. Now they're the resistance, even though Hillary Clinton, you know, back in October when she thought she was a shoo-in, she said that to not, you know, go with the peaceful transfer of power is going to shake the core of our democracy.
Yeah, don't you love how they're the resistance now?
Oh,
yeah, George Bush now, too. He's got to throw his hat in the ring.
Yeah, they're the resistance now. And, you know, we have to resist them. But rather than self-reflect, they have to blame a glitch in the matrix. And then they say someone like Loki.
Because they control it.
Some evil controller like Loki is up there saying, oh, what would the humans do if we actually let Trump win or switch the Oscars around? I mean, it's insanity. That's the level it's gotten to.
God forbid there be countries where they try to be prosperous and nice to each other. And,
that's humble. What happened?
They get the life extension technology. There can't be a good ending.
Wait, the Americans are deciding their own fate? It must be Russia.
It must be an off-power entity.
Well, you know why they gave the wrong announcement for, you know, a La La Land instead of Moonlight? That was the Russians did that.
Yeah, it was Putin.
I ran out of gas a few weeks ago. You know that was Putin.
Oh, yeah. All the traffic.
It's Putin.
Yeah, all the traffic in Austin. It must be the Russians.
Let's take some more calls. All right, Mike in England, thanks for the call. Who should I go to next here? Let's go to Chris in Ontario, Canada. Go ahead.
Alex, hello.
Hey, brother.
I just wanted to say I've been a fan of yours for a while. I've been a follower of yours for a while. And I genuinely appreciate everything you've done to provide me and all of us with access to a perspective that we otherwise would not have.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. Go ahead.
I just want to say, since you do appeal to your Christian beliefs so often in the things you say, I am baptized as well. That is a circumstance I did not control. And I want more of us to be discussing. I know Joe Rogan could talk about this point. I would love to talk to Joe about this point. We are manifesting Christ consciousness now in a way that we never have before. That's the choice to be a good Christian. This is the proliferation of that spirit through technology. And it's beautiful.
Sure. I mean, look, I don't get in the New Age sense of Christ consciousness, but Christ is about that spirit of not wanting to screw people over, wanting to empower humanity. Doesn't mean you're weak and roll over. That's the kind of the fake Christian consciousness, but actually being strong and helping others and building things. And that's what Trump's promoting, is the shared destiny of prosperity and coming together and doing what's right. Yeah.
You do believe that Christ was a man who did live on this planet?
Absolutely. The Roman historians, it's all documented.
Okay, if you do believe that, then you do believe that there has been a stretch of time since then to now. But in the full continuing infinite universe, there is only one moment. Therefore, this is the plane. This is the time. This is the moment.
Sure, in a Zen sense, absolutely.
It's not Zen, it's reality.
Yeah,
well,
can I jump in here?
We're not going to argue about terms. The point is that's a Zen term to say
we can't
you're in one point and it interconnects forever. The point is I love God. I want justice. I want my kids to have a great future. And I believe in humanity. I don't believe in like turning people into animals and screwing them over. And so if you call that Christ-like, then I aspire to be Christ-like. It doesn't mean that I am Christ-like.
I think we're kind of getting into semantics. We are on the same energy wavelength. I feel you, brother.
I feel you, brother. I appreciate you, Chris. You guys want to comment on that caller? Got more calls?
I would like to comment. I don't know if my mic's open, but yeah, I mean, just kind of on what he's saying.
Your mic is always open, Leanne.
Yay, hooray. I just think it is, you know, what he's saying as far as this being the time, because never before in history, you know, we talk a little bit about the playbook and the plays that the rulers have always used again and again and again. They've got the bread and circuses, and they can always do the divide and conquer because they know that these are the tricks that they can play against the masses, and they always win the chess game every single time. But it's the same exact moves on the chessboard. Never before in history have we, the people, been able to connect immediately with everyone else out there.
That's right. We're in a breakout phase.
This is why the establishment's losing. This is why Trump is in office.
It's
this
the printing
It's an
press.
awakening.
It's the Gutenberg 2.0.
There's an awakening.
They've never experienced. That's why they want to control the internet and shut us down, because they're thinking, wow, this is a brand new play on the
And by the way,
chessboard. We've never had this before.
I agree. We analyze CNN saying we're not political. We don't support Democrats. Ridiculous lies. They already are a shadow of us, or Drudge. Things like Pie have 15 billion views in the last 5 years on YouTube. It's like they're already dead. They're already a joke.
Right, and that's why we with the whole projection the caller was talking about, where it's our opportunity now to project what we would like to see, because we are in control. We just have to acknowledge that.
It's not
Stop
magical
giving them
thinking.
the power.
We are the majority. We are people that want prosperity and justice. The globalists just almost put out ridiculous lies, like you said today, Leanne, that piece we did live, to make us go debate them about their BS.
Well, this country was created under the premise of God-given rights. And that's what it used to be. It used to be that kings said that God gave them the right to rule over everyone else. And America said, no, actually, God gave us all rights, and we all have a right to a freedom and free speech and pursuit of happiness.
And again, even if you don't believe in God, by saying that, well, I believe in God, but if you don't believe it, it's saying the state isn't above you. Exactly.
Exactly.
Great point. All right, thank you, Chris. I got to move quick here because we got to get done in 15, 20 minutes. I love talking to you, but everybody's got to get a little bit of sleep, so we're right back here in the morning.
Got a full day tomorrow.
Full day tomorrow. But powerful speech, I got to tell you. I'd love to be able to come out and say, you know, Trump did this or that, but sorry, it was too good. We got Robert in Ohio, has been holding Georgia, Connecticut, Nicholas in Tampa, Florida. Let's go to the bottom of the list and start taking some of these calls. Let's go ahead and talk to Robert in Ohio. Robert, you're on the air. Thanks, Chris.
Alex, it's great to be with you. First-time caller and a long-time listener. Just 2 quick points.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One of your callers called in about a week and a half ago in reference to pharmaceutical funding for the media. It was just a great point. I'd like a comment on that. To cut off for the fake stream media, there used to be a law preventing it. And then secondly and lastly, and I'll hang up afterwards, is Dr. Pachenik mentioned sending in a cleaner for these different departments to clean out some of these departments. And I just wanted your comments on that. And thank you, guys, and thank you to the crew. And I'll just hang up and listen.
And I was listening to you. I got the second part, but what was the first part?
First part, Alex, was the pharmaceutical companies, the funding and advertising. There used to be a law preventing the mainstream media from having ads and running pharmaceutical ads.
No, that's right. They usually couldn't have whiskey ads on TV either.
Right.
Yeah. Trump's trying to break up Big Pharma and make them give us lower prices. And he's trying to expose the vaccines. This is what he's experienced. So he's definitely doing good on those fronts, setting up commissions. But what was the second part of the question?
Dr. Pachenik mentioned something about sending in a cleaner through these different departments, these big federal bureaucracies, and cleaning out some of these departments, these
It needs to be done. He's trying. I mean, the State Department is in, which we all know runs the country. It's more important than the CIA. It's the proto-CIA. It just ignores Trump. So he's like a month in, just like he's fired something like a third of the people.
Wow. Well,
and they still won't do what they're told. I mean, you know.
It needs to happen if you're going to have people in there that are refusing to go along or refusing to actually advise the president on certain things and withholding information. Basically, he needs to drain the swamp so that we can get on with.
Sure, it's just the problem is he's dealing with such crap.
Yeah,
he's taking on Washington. He's taking on the bureaucrats. They're so entitled in a mass. They just lay around and won't do anything. And so, you know, it's just insane. But great points, Robert. Pachenik's right. It's not Trump in the last month that's been killing all these Russians. And it was happening before. It's rogue elements. They're trying to start a war. So, you know, it's just I mean, Pelosi thinks, you know, Bush is still in office. Maxine Waters thinks that Putin attacked Korea, not South or North. That's what's dangerous is we got a bunch of disconnected people living off America's strength and will that are starting fights that are very, very dangerous.
That's true. And, you know, on his point about the pharmaceutical industries, they've become so incredibly toxic, and they shouldn't be having such control over the media. through the mainstream media.
That's what he's saying. Is we should start restricting them.
Exactly. They're pretty much, they're funding them, and they're going to do.
They're running policy to tell people you're depressed or whatever when you're a teenager, you need these drugs. Great point, Millie.
Well, they need everyone to be doped up and drugged because they're easier to control and they're easier to program when they have zero vitality in their life and they just want to sit and watch their television. That's the reason why there's this collusion with Big Pharma. They want everyone doped up. It's not just about the money. It's also about the control.
And the drugs always have a bunch of side effects, which then you would need to take another drug to do, and then more side effects. So
sure, it's about a drug dealer always gets you strung out.
It's profit over people. That's what it's about.
That's right. It's about getting you strung out. Let's go ahead and talk to Josh in West Palm Beach, Florida. Josh says Trump has the Midas touch, turns everything into gold. So far, my gut tells me, my spirit tells me Trump's good. My intellectual stuff tells me he's great. It almost makes me, at a certain level, think I'm wrong and paranoid because, maybe he's the devil because it's so good. It's so anti-New World Order. It makes you think. Josh, go ahead.
Like you say all the time, people see Trump and you have his enemies and you have his friends, but his spirit is so strong that he just repels evil. I mean, it's very simple. It's a very simple point. Everybody wants to extrapolate on it. It's just a simple algorithm. That is, you have a strong spirit of good, which he has, and we all know this as Christians. And you see the Democrats specifically, and I don't want to say liberals because they're not real liberals.
They're the left-hand path. You see the Luciferians scared.
Yeah, and you just see them rescind, and they turn away. And I'm fighting my own
recoil because they know. I mean, did you see the mass satanic rituals against Trump Friday in the news? Then they had articles on the weekend saying I was crazy and was imagining rituals. No, it was all over the news.
People, but they want to say that you're wrong, and it's so irrefutable. It's silly. It's silly to even bring that fact up because they're easily shot down. That's not even something you can argue about, and you see them retract a day later. It's very simple. And another thing I want to say is, I'm fighting my own battle here in West Palm Beach. I go to a college here. I won't say the name, but when Hillary was there at the college, she actually spoke, and I wore my Hillary for President 2016 T-shirt. And my God, you should see the reactions that I got from my communist professors. And all of them wouldn't even look at me and say a word.
Wow. Well, you talk about the Midas touch. Let's say we agree on one thing. We're living in epic times. Incredible things are happening. No one should be bored right now. With it's not just Trump. It's a spirit of nationalism, strong men, strong women, strong leaders everywhere saying no to their countries and their peoples being slaves. We exposed globalism, and we knew if we exposed it was unelected and tyrannical and what its aims were. And they were so arrogant, they wrote articles and white papers and books admitting it, that they would come down. How many times did I say that? It wasn't rocket science. Yeah. It was common sense, Millie and Owen and Leanne and Josh. I mean, they're in deep crap. Unelected corporate world government that's exempt from taxes and above the law, that ain't going to fly.
And the reason...
If they gave us prosperity, it might. No, we're going to be poor and in a bunch of race riots while they're all rich? No. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. Well, that's the reason why what we're seeing with Donald Trump is so new and exciting and different is because for so long it's been the right foot and the left foot of the same beast. I mean, we have somebody on the right and then somebody on the left. But decades and decades, it's been, they're all part of the establishment. So now it's like finally we have somebody else that comes in and fills that spot. And they don't know what to do. The establishment's freaking out about it. And we're actually watching what happens when a real person comes into power in America.
We are, we're at a huge time of global awakening. Owen, Leanne?
Well, actually, I kind of want to go back to that one caller who made the point about the world changing, and you kind of expanded on that a little bit. I saw the world change from when I was a kid growing up in the 90s to when I got into college and finished school. I saw the world change in that span of about 15 years, and I saw the life that I grew up with, the life that I had. And I just saw that slowly deteriorating and changing. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that completely miss that. But now, in the last year and a half, there's been a different change. The life force has totally changed. And the big difference is it's our change. The change that we were experiencing over the last course of the last decades, Alex, that you've been on air for 20 years covering
was artificial.
Are exactly. Those are changes that are being artificially moved forward by shadow
this new
governments.
Is organic from us.
Right.
And now it gives us the opportunity to change the world. All these people have talked about wanting to change the world. Now, guess what? They're all on this platform together, and they've put Trump in office because they feel that finally we have a president.
And I agree with you. So what happens to the minions that are so pissed off and think they're anti-establishment as they desperately defend it? What do they do when they're defeated, which they are being defeated?
You know, I guess if we took a look at history, Alex, history would tell us they're going to do exactly what they've been doing. They're going to riot in the streets. They're going to try to deteriorate society. They're going to start race wars. They're going to try to start civil wars. They're going to spread propaganda, and they're going to do all this stuff to try to divide and conquer. That's what history would tell us, and we're already seeing that happening. But those minions, I think, are going to be a moot point. The people that we're worried about, and we talked about this earlier, are the Bill Gates of the world. Now, I can't even believe this, that Obama is organizing people to try to stop Trump. The Pelosi's, the Maxine Waters, the John McCain, who's still in office, going back and forth between the United States and Syria in secret meetings. This is a man who is meeting with rebel forces that turned out to be ISIS.
They're fighting our troops.
It should be called the Skeksis Club.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, McCain should not be walking around.
Well, we got another cycle of elections coming up that's going to be huge. And if America gets their local elections right, with their local governments, with their state representatives,
the real rebellion is about you running for office. Are you hiring people? Are you being a good father?
And now you have the chance. And now you have the chance, and you can actually lead and be looked at as an example and a hero.
That's a great point, Owen, because you know what? You know, when I was infiltrating the Hillary Clinton supporters and I actually went to their volunteer club.
Was that Rainbow Snatch?
No, that was me during the elections. But you know what? I actually received an email because I think they still send them from the Democratic Party. And what they were saying is that they are organizing to put in a bunch of new people to run for Congress, for Senate, for everything, every local different position. So they're literally working toward having a bunch of new people running this next election cycle. So the Republicans, the conservatives, the Trump supporters need to be doing the same exact thing. Otherwise, what are we gonna do when they take back power?
I want to race through final calls, but Leanne, you want to comment on what we just talked about?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what Rahm Emanuel said as well. He said everyone needs to just chill out and think of it the long game, and he wants all of his people to start focusing on 2018 and getting people in their local elections. The young turds are actually starting their own little side Democratic Party so that they can start educating their young followers so that they can
they are so deceptive now. I see their reports. Total lies.
They're teaching their people specifically how to get progressive young people in office locally. So they really are playing chess here, the long game. It's not about,
you know what, though?
We won the battle, but
they're losing miserably because I go out to these Trump events and we've put the videos on the Alex Jones channel on YouTube. I talk to young Trump supporters, people that are in grade school, teenagers, high school. They are the most well-spoken, smartest, quick-witted people. They're smarter than me, okay? And they're in this since they were kids. If we can, I mean, and look, this is why the responsibility is on us right now to keep focused, to realize that this is now the fight. This is now the battle. We are in the fight right now for the future. And if we can stay strong, if we can hold fast for another 4 or 8 years,
that's right.
I really think that our culture that's manifesting itself in the youth right now will take over.
If we take action. And a big part of that's wearing your colors like a motorcycle club or gang. You know, get a Trump Pence 2020 shirt, keeping America great. On the back it says America First in 1776. That supports the broadcast. You meet like-minded people. You manifest in the physical dimension, third dimension, what's happening. I want to go to 6, 7 calls. We're going to shut this down. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Appreciate the crew staying here so late. We got Devin, Mitchell, Alex, Jared, Kevin, George, and Nicholas, and a lot of other calls coming in. But let's go to Devin in Florida. Devin in Florida, you're on the air.
Great. Hey, thank you so much. Listen, I have bought your products, and I got to say they're amazing. Anyone who's on the fence, buy it, because I've gotten Caveman, Superman Vitality, Secret 12, Vitamin Mineral Fusion. I've got the body armor.
Wow, thank you.
Wow.
You're the type of listener that makes it all possible. Which nutraceutical does you like best?
I really like the vitamin mineral fusion, to be honest. That's
amazing.
Really incredible. I drank it in the morning, and I swear to you, I felt incredible. Like I haven't felt in weeks.
Totally organic. Thank you.
My morning was fantastic, and I love you guys. I love the InfoWars crew, and I just want to I want to take this opportunity to tell anybody out there who's on the fence, just buy it. You will love it. I'm telling you. I've never bought a bad product. I really have never bought a bad product.
Well, thank you. We do try to bring you the very best products. Some of them are private labeled bestsellers. A lot of them are the stuff we proprietarily developed. But yeah, I wouldn't sell somebody something that I don't personally take. And the X2 alone, the Super Male, you'll notice it in a few days.
Exactly, and that's what I noticed. That's exactly right. Like everything I've tried that I've taken, it's better than anything you'll buy in a regular store.
Thank you. Well, that's not saying much. I mean, look at Subway, like half the chicken's fake, everything else. We don't have any fillers. We go to the biggest, best companies, and they go, no one's ever put a product out that's good. And we go to the next company. Someone have like 4 or 5 companies we work with, so we're not with one company. So we have our stuff made by 4 companies. We've got like 30-something products now.
Yeah, that's right. We all take the products. I take the products myself. And seriously, if I ever forget to take them, like I have a noticeable difference. I don't feel good. And then I'm like, oh, man, that's right. I need to start.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. Psychopaths think they're getting it over to screw somebody. They don't have Texas hospitality. We want you to have the very best stuff. I think you've told me about some of the products you've taken.
Yeah, the nascent iodine is one of the ones that was life-changing for me. You know, it
women particularly, because of, you know, the fact that they offload so much, you know, chemicals every month and so much of their, you know, proteins and things. The women particularly have the iodine deficiency in the thyroid.
That's right.
Women really need iodine.
Yeah, you have to have iodine. You could get goiter. Since
we're doing plugs here, and thank you, Devin. Briefly, since we're doing plugs to fund the operation, big specials in tomorrow, 33% off on a lot of the products. Since they've been censoring us on Google Ads, a lot of the money's come in, so thank you for the support to fund this independent operation. Leanne Owen, I don't know your testimonials. I know Leanne has said super female, she felt it. You got any comments about the products?
Yeah, I actually have just run out of my super female. I had a few bottles at my house, and I've been taking it again, hitting the gym once again. Very exciting, feeling great, looking good. So, and I know my hair is luxurious once again. So obviously the super female is amazing. I love it. And this one's trying to get me on the caveman. I haven't decided if I'm ready to do the
cave woman.
I'm
Look, she's
mostly
even has her Wonder
vegetarian,
Woman
so
mug.
it's, you know, it's a little hard for me to.
Oh, and you're a little young here, so's Leanne. But do you need any of these concoctions?
No, I use most. I mean, if you look at my pantry, I've got an entire pantry that is.
I love the Secret 12.
Yeah, Secret 12 is great. I always say this though. I'm a supplement head. I'm a freak. Okay, I'm a freak. All right, I'm a total freak. So most people are not gonna be able to relate to how many supplements I take and why I'm so obsessed with my health. But nascent iodine is essential. That is, if there's one product yeah, Survival Shield X2. If there's one product that I would say is life-changing that I would suggest, it's nascent iodine, Survival Shield X2. Awaken your pineal gland. Most people probably have no idea they're getting hit with the fluoride so hard.
And by the way, it's 43% off right now.
$20. $20. It's got a 5-star rating with over 2,000 reviews. That is a joke. That is as good as it gets.
That's how they fund the operation, InfoWarsStore.com. Okay.
For $100, you can make your family smarter, literally.
Free shipping. Yeah, you can.
Iodine is linked to higher IQs.
That's what I'm saying.
Free shipping on orders $50 or more, 10% off on auto ship. I want to thank folks for their support. Okay, let's move quick here. Let's go to Kevin in Dallas, Texas. You're on the air, Kevin.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, everybody. Just wanted to make a quick message to Donald Trump. I've been trying to get a hold of you guys. I know a caller about a couple of days ago made a point on marijuana and how he needs to basically endorse it, leave it to, which is a good point. He also, I think you had made a comment about it earlier, he also needs to, with his immigration policies, he needs to basically close the gap of the undocumented immigrants by basically, I don't know how he could do it, but a fast track somehow of helping people who don't have felonies that have been here for more than 3 years, basically have an easier process of getting their citizenship.
Well, that's actually what he's planning, and now they've got the whole fake right wing saying he's backing off his promise. No, he's going to make it better for legal, good people to come in, and then harder for people with criminal backgrounds. That's actually the plan he's about to announce. And
And can I
people
actually
don't like folks from China or Mexico or Eastern Europe here. Sorry, you shouldn't have aborted all your babies.
And Obama's amnesty plan that he was pitching was going to allow all these people to be here without United States citizen status. And in a way, that's kind of wrong to have them here and not have the same rights, not know about
Sure,
the
well, here's the deal.
They should know.
They can't be indoctrinated to be globalist anti-Americans when they're brought in. They can't come here and get everything free. Everybody else didn't get stuff free. So we need people to come in. We need good people of every color and every region and every, everything. That's what makes America great.
Alex, I'd like to make a comment, too, because I think that you can make a comparison here with the whole weed legalization thing. I think the caller is right because there's so many people out there, honestly, mostly liberals, probably a lot of them live in Denver, maybe Washington, D.C., who are major marijuana activists. That's like the only thing that they care about. That's their biggest activism policy. And if Trump embraced that movement, he would immediately flip, I would bet you, so many never-Trumpers just on that. But here's the thing you can do.
I mean, not for legalization, decriminalization.
And think about this, Alex, because, look, he's got Jeff Sessions. Okay, Donald Trump doesn't use drugs. Here's what he can do. Pick and choose your battles, Donald. Go after heroin. There's a serious epidemic. That is a seriously dangerous drug to the youth.
Half the overdoses are heroin right now.
Go after the CIA drug running the cocaine over the border. That's been caught red-handed. Go after those two fronts. Hit the cocaine and the CIA.
Yeah,
hit the heroin.
Clearly not as bad as alcohol.
And you know what? I lived in Colorado, and I witnessed firsthand the amount of help that this actually helps people with. People
Creates
with
jobs.
Cancer, people with tons of
glaucoma.
diseases, children even. You know, there's children with seizure problems. The marijuana, medical marijuana, can actually really help people.
No, it does. It has. It's
really
an amazing
does. It created
plant.
a lot of jobs in Colorado too, so it actually did help. And what happened was the cartels were hurting because it was legal, and people would rather just go get stuff.
And that's why they want to keep drugs illegal, so they can make a black market and make money. Leanne?
I agree. I would like to raise some bumblebees that do the whole process so you can make honey, and it has the medicinal cannabinoids. I don't know how you say it.
That sounds like honey, marijuana honey.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had that, Leanne.
Like an elixir.
They do. Well,
Leanne's got a new job idea.
I'm working on some things on the side because I do agree. I think the only reason
Leanne is her alias. Well, what's Wonder Woman's, like Diana Price?
Yeah.
Well, I think that, the only reason why it hasn't been legalized yet is because the powers that be know how incredible it is.
That's right.
It
they admit that.
Replace so many industries.
Kevin, thank you for the call.
The pharmaceutical giants do not want medical marijuana to be legalized because people will start just getting medical marijuana for a plethora of different diseases. And then guess who loses out?
Well, that's why they banned marijuana before. Even hemp that doesn't have THC it's better than cotton. It has all these industrial things. Anybody can grow it. It grows anywhere.
It grows quickly. You don't have to level the forest.
It's all part of these controlled economies.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Let's go to George in Connecticut. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Alex, so you sound like you're fading. Please have somebody drive you home if you can't make it. I don't want to hear about it.
There's this whole conspiracy that when I've been up since 6 a.m. and I'm a little bit tired, that I'm drunk. I absolutely am 100% here. I'm just relaxed. I'm not obnoxious like I was at 11 a.m. You want me to take over? You want me to talk about the New World Order? I'm just traffic copping this whole thing and doing a great job. What do you mean I got a problem? I'm totally here. You want me to read some? Here, let me read what Trump's speech was before we got it. President's address to a joint session of Congress. The president is committed to keeping promises to the American people. What are you talking about?
Come on,
Alex. I think he just doesn't want you to fall asleep at the wheel.
Everybody knows that you can drink a gallon of whiskey. Come on now.
Well, I mean, that's apple cider. No, but I mean,
lost my ear.
To the caller, just go ahead. I'll tell you, I've been up since 6 a.m. Quite frankly, I had a fever last night, and I got an earache because I swam in a fetid lake the other day. But the point is that I'm here because it's great to be with everybody. So go ahead. What's your point, George?
My points were, I hope you can get what would be a great combo shot. People who have worked for a Republican administration.
You sound a little drunk, George. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
Well, you had...
Who shucks seashores by the seashores?
A little sugar water.
Yeah.
George, go ahead.
Let me spit it out. Yes, a combo shot would be Catherine Austrian Fitz and Charlotte.
A combo shot of Jameson's and Jägermeister?
Ooh.
Ew, gross.
Catherine Austin Fitz and Charlotte Isby.
Stop drinking, George.
Charlotte Isby and the other woman.
Catherine Austin Fitz.
Ah.
I haven't had Catherine Austin Fitz on in a while. We're going to do that. Charlotte Isby's great, too. We've had her on probably 50 times some of the years, but that's a great point. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Nicholas in Tampa, Florida. You're on the air, Nicholas.
Hey, Alex, thank you so much for taking my call, man. You guys actually inspired me to start my own independent news site.
Good. Tell us about it.
Well, it's actually realnse.com, and I always link back to you guys.
Thank you.
Anytime you guys do videos.
That's realnsc.com?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. But my question was, I wanted to get your take on the news that was coming out. Trump spending so much on travel. I guess where supposedly he spent in 7 months, he's going to spend more than Obama. I just want to get your take on that. If you think that's
well,
real.
I mean, it's chicken feed. He's brought back trillions in the stock market, hundreds of billions of jobs, trillions more coming in. If he's going to run around doing our work and not vacationing 4 months out of the year, it's all just petty news stories to nickel and dime us. You know, he does less security, less pomp, less everything. He flies around even without the Secret Service. And, of course, the media is going to make an issue out of it. What do you think, Owen? What do you think, Leanne? What do you think?
Well, you know, I think the one issue here is, well, first of all, you have the total double standard where Bush and Obama go on lavish vacations, spend tens of millions of dollars, and the media remains silent on it. But actually, you know,
Conway put her feet on the couch.
Oh, and yeah, Obama never, I mean, whatever. Kellyanne Conway, she seems to find her way into every story. But as far as the spending is concerned, I mean, look, I think that Trump is trying to spend as less as possible. He's proven that in some of his policy. He's proven that in the way he's tried to cut into the debt, the way he's doing negotiations, for example, with the airplanes. But the security thing to me—
He is purely working for the country, and that's why special interests are so pissed.
They're just grasping at straws because if you remember, right after Louisiana, who was golfing? Obama. Obama was golfing. And did they make a big deal about that? Not as much as they would have if it were Donald Trump.
That's right. Good point, Leanne.
Well, yeah, and of course, President Obama had to get one last big, super expensive vacation in his last, month in office. And what was it, took it over $95 million or something spent on the taxpayers'
Yeah,
dime?
so
it was close to
that's where I
100
stand,
million.
Nicholas. This whole bureaucracy does this. Trump
somehow makes millions while being president, too.
Anything else, Nicholas?
What I just wanted to say also, I think he's also traveling to also try to heal the nation, because Obama spent all those years.
Exactly. If he travels to a country and makes a multi-billion-dollar deal and the trip costs $50 million, that's just the way it goes. But he's not going there to surf. Or,
he's also
hot dogs.
He's also, he doesn't have the succulent hot dogs, but he's also doing the ground game and visiting people in America, doing addresses to people in America,
he's
hitting
not
almost the campaign again.
$55,000 worth of hot dogs.
But keep in mind, if they're spending money on these trips, I would imagine most of it goes to security. Because keep in mind, you've got people like Chuck Schumer going on air threatening Donald Trump with the intelligence agencies. Okay, so there's going to need to be a little security
Trump everywhere.
That's right. They were actually criticizing the fact that Trump had so much security money being spent on his family. Well, what do you expect when you have Madonna coming out saying
blow up the White House,
and you have all these celebrities and people advocating to hurt Donald Trump, and so his family needs to be protected when we have these extreme threats being made.
Let me just say this, a litmus test. If I hear in one day Trump wants $65,000 of succulent hot dogs, I think that's wasteful spending.
Do you think Der Spiegel would write a special piece on it, Alex?
Oh yeah, Der Spiegel's here. I pour stuff on my shirt. I'm in my office, and they go, "Oh, you got your shirt off. Interview us." I said, "Screw it. I'll eat
a meat plate,
barbecue." And then they have this made-up thing that I have a sausage. This is all the news. New York Times, New York Daily News, that Alex Jones said, "Suck my sausage." No, I'm not kidding. No. Talk about fake news. Just Google it. Alex Jones, suck my sausage. Has anyone ever in the office, has anyone heard me say, suck my sausage?
Only if you were talking about Obama's succulent hot dogs.
I don't know. You do kind of goof around a lot, so I could see you a little Freudian slip there, and maybe it was lost in translation with the Russian.
I was there, Alex. You didn't ask Der Spiegel to suck your sausage, okay?
No.
Yeah, Leanne, you never heard me say something like that.
Oh my goodness.
No, But I love the article, though.
You're looking at throw me under the bus.
Oh,
How fat I look.
Very rude lunch host. You buy these guys pounds and pounds of the most succulent meats and barbecue in Austin. just smother them with a buffet
Alex,
of goodness, and they bitch about it because you took your shirt off.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, that's what they were just like, oh my gosh, they're so well, the article talks about how it was like a power move and how it was almost intimidating to the reporters, and they were sitting there. They're like, wow, he's just like devouring this meat. It's very caveman-like, very
They've just never seen a man before.
Yeah, the super male vitality, you know.
Oh my God, Alex Jones is a man. I wasn't expecting Alex Jones to be a man. Look at this man with his chest and his
I didn't
food.
say. Has anyone ever seen me hold up a sausage and say, want a suck?
No, and that's the thing. It's like
that's what it says.
That's how they end the article.
Want to suck? I didn't say that.
That's how they end the article. And they're like, we're guessing this is actually how Jones eats every single meal. Like,
oh my God,
those guys.
Wow.
We're barely speaking English in here, so, you know, maybe they were fantasizing. Maybe you just threw him off with the shirt.
I think it's the best hit piece ever written on you, Alex, to be honest.
They probably were just a bunch of intimidated beta males, and they couldn't handle that.
I don't like throwing my shirt off a lot, but I go back to my office, I got a bathroom. I'll take all this off, put a T-shirt on before I go eat. I got a T-shirt, and they're like following me around. They go, oh, your shirt's off. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I just sit down there by my office. Because let's be honest, I do eat my lunch with my shirt off. That's back in my office, though.
I don't like walking around in this monkey suit all day. I like the fact that you allow us to loosen up a little bit around here. I don't pop my shirt off and ask people if they want to suck my sausage, but you know. There you are. Look at that. Look at that barbecue. How dare you enjoy barbecue with your shirt off, Alex? How dare you?
Yeah, that's how everyone in Texas eats barbecue, right? If you don't have a bib with your Texas barbecue, you can't get your tailored suits dirty. I'm sure you were wearing a very expensive shirt that day.
That's what Der Spiegel decides to write.
Daily News, Newsweek, Der Spiegel. The headlines are now, Alex Jones says, suck my sausage. I mean, you can't make this up. You know? I didn't say that, hey.
If that's all they've got, Alex, it's hilarious.
You know, as they build up, they're like, is the meat good? And I did say, hey, how's the sausage? It was like, you know.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, they have good
that's what I mean. It's not like you've ever walked around asking anyone that, but I mean, we're in an office full of guys who like to have fun. So I just don't think they're used to that because they're so controlled and they can't.
But I didn't know.
They're chicken
I'm
neck
not going to hold the sausage up and say, do you want to suck the sausage? It just didn't happen. I'm going to challenge them for a tape for this because.
Yeah. Let's see it, fake
news.
No
tape.
Let's see it.
You should just email them some cryptic email.
No,
and
I remember
ask them
we
if
got
they
like
wanna...
orders of each. It wasn't like individual plates. We didn't really start to salivate here. And I remember saying, like, do you want some more sausage or brisket? They're like, no, we're full. That translates into that. It just shows how they deceive.
Yeah.
But I guess they thought that'd be the big joke.
I guess. I don't really see how it's even that much of a hit piece on you.
It's not. It's like
it's pathetic that it's something they're even just. It's more grasping at straws. It's just like, okay, oh, well, even if someone did say that, oh, well, move on with your life. There's more important things to report on.
Yeah, somebody made a phallic joke. I can't even handle it. I didn't know it didn't happen.
Made a joke about...
Oh, and have you heard me make a phallic joke here? Ever?
No, I've never heard you make a phallic joke.
I'm not really into those kind of jokes.
I have seen you enjoy barbecue, though. I have seen you enjoy barbecue. I've seen you, pop your shirt off, but you've never asked me to suck a sausage.
Or, yeah.
I just want to go on record.
I'm glad that's clear.
I just want to be on record, okay?
He's not into sucking.
That's mutual. You did have to pop a pickle can.
Not into.
You did not ask me. Hey, but you did not ask me to suck the pickle either.
Yeah,
nobody asked to suck any pickles.
Yeah. No.
Let's stop now while we're at. Okay. Thank you, Nicholas. Let's take 4 more calls.
Thank you, Der Spiegel.
Mitchell in Oregon. You're on the air with the crazy people. Go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. I actually have 2 points. So after military defense, I'll talk about the other one. First one, the military defense, he talks about peace through strength, which I agree with. But in our strength of building up our military and arms, we should augment our infrastructure, which you've talked about with George Norrie, and we should insulate our power grid. So while he's dealing with the EPA's regulations, he should also have them require that our power.
I agree. $3 billion, right? $2 to $5 billion. Let's say $3 billion. to like fix and put basically surge protectors on all the power plants so that there's a big effect of a solar flare or an EMP, we don't lose our power grid. That's a great point.
Yeah, plus the missing nukes from Minot Air Force Base or Iran, who certainly has nuclear power, that kind of stuff. The second thing I wanted to talk about is Google search Trump encourages asset forfeiture.
No, that's one thing I don't particularly like is he wants to make it even easier to grab property. I'm not anti-police, but a lot of asset forfeiture is out of control. You're right. That's one area Trump's wrong on.
Yeah, just like he was on torture, which he changed, and hopefully he'll change on the civil asset forfeiture. And then the last thing is, I agree, X2 survival shield is the best, and so are succulent sausages.
Oh, my God.
Thanks, guys.
I don't know how we got there. I just can't believe Der Spiegel made that up.
Okay,
I didn't
Texas
say that.
barbecue.
Like, I'm going to go, Der Spiegel, suck on a sausage,
They got confused.
That's ridiculous.
They thought that they were at an Obama party. That's what you hear.
Hot dog party. Which I'm not against hot dog parties. I'm not into hot dogs. Thank you, Michael Mitchell. Alex in New Jersey on one other call. Jared in Arizona. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah.
We're getting feedback now. Maybe they'll get us to stop. Hello.
Echo. Oh, it sounds like it stopped.
Jared, you there? Alex? Oh, the call system crashed. Well, only 2 left. We got to like 20. Great job, Millie. Great job, Leanne. Great job, Owen. Great job, crew. Let's all get like 6, 7, 8 hours sleep. And let's be back here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central InfoWars. Program brought to you by Elgin Sausage.
We will be back to come out here and continue on in the info war and be the real resistance against the globalists and tyranny.
And I'm glad we had some fun tonight. 60-second closing from all of you because we had fun. Trump gave a great speech overall. The economy shows signs of getting back. The globalists are openly trying. Let me ask you all this. What happens if Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan, Owen and Leanne and Millie, are able to crash the economy when they're the ones openly calling for it? Do they think Trump and Americana will get the blame, just like they're trying to challenge the Brexit and the UK for pulling out of the unelected EU? Like, how do you threaten economic warfare? Then once it happens, Hitler bombed England, the Brits turned against him. Like, when do they learn the intimidation doesn't work if we know who did it?
I think that the American people would wake up to it, but I think at first they would want to try to control the narrative of it if there was some kind of an economic attack. And I feel like that's why it's the main danger places would be like the stock market if there were going to be a terrorist attack, or or some places like like Las Vegas where they like to do lots of money laundering and whatnot. So I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, I feel like yeah. I totally lost the thought in my head, Alex.
He sucked it right out of your brain.
He sucked it out.
It was a brain sucker. I was listening to you. Terror attacks.
Yes, terrorist attacks. They could try and attack our economy and basically blame it all on Trump. Say, oh, he was being incompetent. His State Department wasn't overseeing, and these things happened under his watch, so he's the one to blame.
Exactly.
I think that we're already kind of seeing their attempt in the fact that they're trying so hard to delegitimize Donald Trump. I think that the real reason behind that, obviously they wanted Hillary in, but they keep pushing this. They keep pushing the anti-Trump everything.
It's not some foil. The whole establishment that has a monopoly and are arrogant and inbred, they think they own the whole show. That's their biggest weakness. And they completely hate Trump because he's at least smart enough to ride a nationalist wave. Lowen?
So I think what they're doing right now is they're testing the system, see how much control they still have over the hearts and minds of America and the entire world population. But I think that's why they're pushing so hard to delegitimize Trump from every angle, try to cut him down at every path, cut his legs off from underneath him, so that if they do try to pull something like that, crash the economy, whatever it is, whether it's a terror attack, economy collapsing, super bug, whatever it is, they're just going to blame Trump. And maybe they'll even blame the Russians along with Trump. So I think that that's what they're doing. They're greasing the skids. They're just getting everything ready here.
You know why Hollywood announced the wrong winner? It was the Russians.
Right.
Yeah, so whenever the economy collapses, I'm sure it'll be Putin, and it was Trump's fault because he's Putin's agent. That's the narrative they've been building.
Putin would start writing some checks around here.
I know,
It's hard to come up with the money every week.
Well, it was Putin that came into my office today and said, "Hey, Schroyer, we're going to go late tonight." That was Putin.
Yeah, Putin gave him the call in his shoe.
Yeah.
Leanne, what do you want to say from Putin?
Well, what I think is just...
You are wearing red. That's Soviet. So, Wonder Woman, tell me what Putin says.
Well, I mean,
Speak as the mouth of Putin.
I think it's very important for people to see that they are building underground bunkers and preparing themselves to be able to survive underground or overseas for at least a year with their storable foods and everything. Yet they're also out here paying these protesters, riling up people in the streets because they know they're not going to be the ones having to deal with it. So they've created a system where they'll be able to survive. Yet it's kind of worrying a bit to see the amount of unrest and rioting that happens so quickly, and we're not even at a state of civil war.
You see like all of them running to Kauai or Tasmania and these elites stirring it all up. I agree. It's
and you know,
crazy
Alex, I think the relatable analogy we can make here, and this is why you always make it, it's the move, bitch, get out the way. I'm doing 100 in the fast lane. Get the you know what, out of my way.
You see me knock them curtains down?
But think about this.
You got those TVs.
But it's like this, Alex.
Get away on my tour bus.
So for people like you and I, you know,
bought them TVs, bitch. Tell me that.
It's literally I mean, you literally have it when you're in the fast lane, going fast, driving fast because you know how to drive, and you've got dumbasses around you that don't know how to drive. You know, you're at the grocery store and you've got zombies and lemmings everywhere moving slowly, like It's like you're walking around in zombie land. But so that frustrates us in the physical dimension in our lives, is having to walk around and having all these zombies slow us down. People like Bill Gates and politicians who want things like Obamacare.
Bioweapons are coming. You're all dead. I will rule you. When he wrote previous books saying bioweapon you.
They look at entire humanity like that. They look at all
big bioweapons released, Bill, you and your family are #1 suspects.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of time. Great job, the whole crew. Thank you, crew, for working so late. We have 2 crews for TV and radio. They've been working overtime when we do these special reports, so thank the entire crew. Please support us, InfoWarsStore.com. Big specials in tomorrow. Thank you all for your support. We love you. Great time to be alive. And so wild horses couldn't drag me away. Thanks for coming in tonight. Get back to your family.
You're very welcome, Alex.
And we should end with some type of like fun video at the end. So whatever Marcos Morales wants to roll out with, we can do as we end this transmission. Please send this video link. This is about to be archived from being live from Facebook, Twitter, Google, whatever, YouTube, to everybody you know, because if you're watching this transmissions, you are the resistance.
We are transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to the people.
Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
This is the heart of 1776.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Huge nationwide protests erupted once again on President Donald Trump's second weekend in office.
When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States.
And most importantly, we will be protected by God.
From the front lines of the info war, it's Alex Jones.
You voted Trump! You voted Trump!
Oh my goodness, poor white people. Please, stop.
You put all this weight on. Yeah, let's just get into the story. So, thanks in part to outspoken body advocates, we've made great strides towards greater body positivity and body acceptance in general. Yeah, I'm just supposed to accept a bunch of fat turds walking around. I'm just supposed to accept that. Now, actually, the truth of the matter is there's been kind of a reversal of this fortune in the last few years with health kind of trending, being healthier, being skinnier kind of trending again. So I think people are actually into losing weight now. You look at the city of Houston, which used to be the fattest, they've actually lost some weight down there. So I give Houston credit. But it's funny because it's like the movie WALL-E. Is that supposed to be good? I mean, is it just... Should I just be accepting when nobody can even walk anymore? They need a robot just to get up under their own power? No, I'm supposed to be accepting of that. That's body positivity. That's body acceptance. Hey, you're so unhealthy and overweight, you can't even walk around the grocery store on your own. You've got type 1 diabetes, and you're probably going to die by the time you're 50. I accept you. That is a positive body. And again, this comes from the body positive blogger Megan Jane Crabb that Yahoo decided to write about. Crabb